What is up, everyone? It's Fantasy Endgame here to answer all your questions to help you win in Week 7. It's the waiver wire night for a lot of you guys. You know this is when you got to put in those claims, and this is going to be kind of a tricky week, to be honest, because even trying to put together, as far as who should you pick up, there's not any really exciting new names that are jumping off the list. It's guys we already know about. It's backups that now have to start. It's going to be a tough one. I'm just going to say that, and it's always tricky because we're depending on injury news, and we really don't know yet exactly what's going on with some of these situations. So we'll do our best. We're going to try to make sure that nobody gets demarcadoed this week, which you know what that means now. You're dropping your fab for somebody who winds up doing nothing. Let's hope that just doesn't happen. But I think we have to start, Chris, with some very interesting news. It is, not that far. Well, 2 weeks, I guess, exactly from Halloween. But the zombies are back, coming back from the dead. We have Julio Jones, James Robinson, Darrell Henderson, and maybe, just maybe, to top it all off, Lombardi Lenny, coming back from the dead. Julio Jones signed with the Philadelphia Eagles of all teams. So how much fab are you dropping for him?
There is. I wouldn't even you couldn't even give me fab to pick up Julio Jones.
Negative fab bid.
Yeah.
I mean, the Eagles, this is a guy who could be a Hall of Famer.
I mean, yeah, he probably will be a Hall of Famer, but it won't be because of what he did with the Eagles in 2023. That's for sure.
So you're saying no interest in Julio? No.
No interest in Julio. None at all. Please don't pick up Julio Jones, please.
All right, but then Darrell Henderson coming back to the Rams, living the good days with Sean McVay.
I mean, maybe. I'm not picking him up yet, but certainly at least he knows the system and he knows Sean McVay. And I mean, the path here is what, a 7th round rookie, Royce Freeman. I don't think he's going to do anything this week, but let's say Zach Evans struggles and Royce Freeman struggles. Maybe, but I'm still not picking him up.
All right. Can I convince you, maybe talk you into? No. Okay. All right. Well, just thought it was interesting. Look, Leonard Fournette, Buffalo Bills. What if Buffalo gets Lenny and he's fresh, he's ready?
I hope somebody in all my leagues drops all their fab on him. That's what I hope.
All right. How about this then? Look at it from the other way. I'm probably thinking this won't hurt AJ Brown too much. Having Julio Jones and Zach Evans, if he struggles, sure, maybe he just doesn't have a long leash. That makes sense.
Right.
What about if Lenny does go to Buffalo? Does this make you worry about James Cook?
No.
Hard sell here.
There's a reason why it's week 7 and this guy is still not on a football team, and it's not because he's got so much juice left.
All right. But somebody out there will be dropping fab on Leonard Fournette, maybe not James Robinson, but probably on Julio. Somewhere he'll get picked up. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. Julio's getting picked up this week for sure.
All right. It won't be by us. So that happened, or is going to happen. I mean, we'll see. We'll see about that. All right. Now, who should you be at least putting in a waiver claim, dropping fab on? The trickiest one will be San Francisco.
Right.
You want the running back who's going to be the starter. But, by the way, we're not really sure yet about CMC because now today it's like, well, there's still a chance he might play this week. Is it to the point now that you're like, you know what? I'm just not going to worry about it. I'm just not going to take either of these guys because it's maybe a 1-week rental at most, or do you still think it's worth it?
I mean, I still think it's worth it, but I have Evans and Craig Reynolds ahead of these guys now. Because again, we don't know if CMC is going to be out this week, and even if he is, he might be back next week. And even if he's not, then they have the team's bye, and then he'll almost certainly be back. So best case scenario, you're getting the potential starting running back of the 49ers for maximum 2 games, maybe 0 games. You know what I mean? I mean, these guys are still worth rostering. Like, you know, we're still talking about the handcuffs to CMC. Like, these are still guys worth rostering. But if you need players this week, and you might because 6 teams on bye, lots of injuries, these are not the guys I'm looking to. I prefer Evans and Craig Reynolds over both these guys because we know Monty probably not going to be back till week 10 because they have a week 9 bye. Sounds like a multi-week injury. Doubt they're going to bring him back, you know, the last week before the bye. So you're at least going to have Craig Reynolds in, you know, until the bye. And I'm getting really nervous that we're going to see Kyron Williams go on IR here pretty soon because the Rams signed not only Darrell Henderson, not only did they elevate Royce Freeman from the practice squad, but they also signed Myles Gaskin. Like, why, if they only expect Kyron Williams to miss a week, maybe 2, why would you go out and just sign all these running backs? Like, I really think we're going to get a report sometime this week, Kyron Williams on IR. So, to me, like, Zach Evans, look, like I said just a second ago, maybe Zach Evans struggles and loses the job to whoever. But he has the clearest path for the longest time, in my opinion. And then Craig Reynolds is next. So, I'm prioritizing those 2 guys over the 49ers running backs.
Evans is definitely the guy who's going to be, you know, talk about the biggest gap between floor and ceiling. Like, he's got the highest ceiling out of all these guys because the job is his. Like, it's here we go. You got a chance. It's handed him on a platter. He's going to get all the run this week. He's got a chance to run with it. And if he does well, I mean, you're going to be looking at a guy that you're, you know, I'm not going to say he's going to be like, you know, the next Kyron Williams, but it could be a very valuable pickup. Let's just put it that way. And then he could bust and do nothing. And then, you know, one of these other guys comes in and takes the job. So he could be, you know, just kind of a wasted pickup. But I think it's worth finding out. But like you said, look, the Rams just lost, right? The number 1 and 2 running backs. That was 2 running backs who were injured. But they just signed 3 running backs. So it's like, yeah, this also tells me that maybe they're making a contingency plan in case Zach Evans ain't it. You know what I mean? So this kind of shows me that they're not fully invested. Like, oh, yeah, we know he can handle the job, it says. So I still think, look, no risk it, no championship. You got to take chances. It's worth taking a chance because I am still interested in Jordan Mason because even if CMC is back after a week or maybe even plays this week, he's still a high-end handcuff. He still is. And so remember, a lot of people actually drafted Elijah Mitchell this year just because they thought maybe he had standalone value, but he can't stay healthy either. So I'm a little bit more in on Mason than Mitchell. It's risky because you know that these guys might split carries this week, so you're not getting a stud. But again, just having a running back in that system is still worth having. And so I think now I got to put Craig Reynolds kind of down at 3rd because even though he is probably going to be the guy for the next 2 weeks, Jahmyr Gibbs is coming back. And so, you know, and then Monty will be back. It kind of depends on your need, right? It kind of depends on your need, where you're at, how much risk you want to take on. But those are the guys. I think it's got to be running back. No receivers really stand out to me as high-end pickups. Like, oh, okay, now this is a new name I'm really in on this week. But I don't know. Anybody else that you think is really worth going after this week?
I mean, no, I would just say if you're in shallower leagues where guys like Rashee Rice, Curtis Samuel, Josh Downs, guys like that, if they're still on your waiver wire, I mean, certainly I would add them over the running backs unless you really need, like, you're like, hey, I need, like, maybe you lost Kyron Williams and you're like, I need a running back. I would add those wide receivers over the running backs because those guys can give you value rest of the season, whereas the running backs are probably looking at short-term value. But outside of that, yeah, there's no wide receivers that, you know, jumped out in week 6 that are like, oh, go get them now.
No, not really. No, it's tough. This is the time of the year where it's going to get tough. And even with all these injuries, you know, it's rare you see a receiver in the middle of the year just step up and be like, okay, now he's ready. Now he's producing.
Right.
I will say there's a tight end and, you know, Michael Mayer for the Raiders stepping up. It's funny he got overlooked because we were talking about Luke Musgrave and then, you know, of course, Laporta. and forgot that he was drafted right up there with these guys. And, like I said, he was my favorite tight end prospect coming out. I mean, I guess I was too low on Laporta, but I like Mayer. And look, now he's getting targeted. I think he's worth an ad for sure. All right. So we're gonna get to your questions. So we got some already backed up here, some super chats. So we'll get to those. But first, I do want to remind you that if you're on Underdog's got some new specials up there. You can see 100K Sundays are back. Not that they've gone anywhere because they've had it every week now since week 1. This week it is Hollywood time. Hollywood Brown going against Seattle. It's a pretty good matchup. But you know what? Higher, lower, it actually doesn't matter. Just take that as part of your pick'ems and you're entered for a chance to win. And this week, it looks like it's back to 100 to 1,000 different winners. All right, it's either a big pot, small pot, but more winners, more chances to win. Just use that pick and you're entered in 100K Sundays. But the big news here is that if you're new to Underdog, you haven't tried it yet, download the app, use that link down below, sign up and use promo code ENDGAME. That gets you your 100% deposit match. It is still up to $500 for that. But then you also get to take advantage of the new customer special, which is Derek Carr this week. I actually like Derek Carr as a streamer this week, but you don't even have to like him. He could be your least favorite quarterback pick of the week, but you still should take the higher because he just needs 1 yard. 1 yard, go higher. You get a free pick right there. You combine it with anything else, and you can triple your money. So just make sure you sign up for Underdog, take advantage of all those things, and use promo code ENDGAME when you do that. All right. Other thing you should definitely do, and I don't even have to say it because Python's always here to remind all the people, what is up, Python? Hit the like. Alex is first. Alex B is always here too.
What's up, Alex?
Full PPR. Got to pick one at the flex. DJ Moore, who is now with I'd say it's a pretty good chance, probably with a rookie quarterback. Hollywood. Brian Robinson. Oh, very nice. Turning 27 tomorrow.
Wow.
Happy early birthday.
Wow. Great age. Fantastic age. Happy early birthday. I'm sure we'll see you on here tomorrow as well. We can wish you an official happy birthday. Oh, man. This would have so easily been DJ Moore. Can we really put DJ Moore in our lineups?
Yeah, that's the question now is can we easily just dismiss DJ Moore, or do you think give him a shot?
I'm not really big on Hollywood this week. Not really feeling a big Hollywood game either. Brian Robinson does have a nice matchup, but I mean, he hasn't been getting the usage we'd like to see.
No.
I might just gamble on DJ Moore here and just hope. Wow. Just hope beyond hope that. Because, I mean, when you look at it, it's like you can't really feel good about Hollywood, Josh Dobbs turning back into a pumpkin. DJ Moore is pretty much all they have to throw to. I don't know. It's PPR. He could at least catch 2 or 3 passes, right? Hopefully.
Could. I mean, last week Fields wasn't out the whole game, but 5 for 51.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's certainly not a lot of upside with DJ Moore anymore.
Yeah, like to me, he's the guy. I won't say, well, I don't want to risk the nothing, not zero, as in he's not going to catch any passes, but I just don't want that. I know that Hollywood disappointed. Last week didn't get good numbers. Rams have been pretty good against receivers. Surprisingly, look, 3 weeks in a row, he's gotten over 10 targets, 10 or more. I know the numbers haven't been there, but I don't know. This matchup, it's not great, but it's good enough. I think I would probably just go Hollywood. Although Brian Robinson tempting too. Full PPR. I might just lean Hollywood though.
Yeah, Hollywood's fine too. Yeah, I don't like the matchup this week, and I don't like what I've been seeing from Dobbs. But I mean, you can't feel good about DJ Moore. So, yeah, maybe just go Hollywood.
Another Hollywood question. coincidentally, from the King of You, 92, DK or Brown. Guessing
Well,
you
this one's easy
DK.
DK for me. I do like his matchup, and I do like his. I mean, his quarterback's not been great this year, but he's good enough. I'm definitely going DK Metcalf here.
Yeah, this one's easy DK for me. Now, what about Ramondre? Finally had a slight bounce back. I don't want to say a get right. I mean, it wasn't like he went off, but definitely looked better, scored. Or Jerome Ford.
It's
Ford
close.
gets Colts, if I remember. Patriots don't they get the Bills?
Yeah, which the Bills haven't been great against the run, and they are missing Matt Milano. But I mean, how good can you feel about the it was the Raiders last week, right? So you feel pretty good. Man.
This is another close one.
Yeah,
Part
very
of it may
close.
come down to do you think Kareem Hunt gets a little bit more involved or not really? I think that was
Not
game.
really, but I will say the one thing that did worry me a little bit for Jerome Ford in regards to Kareem Hunt was the pass catching. I mean, look, Jerome Ford still caught passes, but I think he only caught like 2, and Kareem Hunt had like 4 or 5. That was a big part of Jerome Ford's value, prior to last week, was even in that tough matchup before the bye when Dorian Thompson was out there. I think he caught like 4 or 5 passes and kind of saved his floor at least, right? It gave him like a decent floor. Stevenson got involved in the passing game again last week. Maybe I just go Stevenson here, but this is really close.
This is really close. They're very similar situations. I think I'll go Stevenson just slightly because, like you said, he does catch more passes. He is a little bit more a vital part of that offense because he has to be because that offense has very few parts that are even
Right.
relevant. So I would give the nod to Ramondre, but it's close. We says, welcome again, as always. First super chat here. 10-team PPR had Monty. Okay, so you got Bijan. That's good. We got Ford. We got Madison. We got Cook. Would you try to get either Reynolds or, I guess, Elijah Mitchell from waivers?
Well, like I said, I'm going Reynolds over Elijah Mitchell because, again, we don't know. I mean, McCaffrey might not even miss a game, and then even if he does, we don't know. Is it going to be Mason getting the bulk of the carries? Is it going to be Mitchell getting the bulk? Is it going to be a split? I think we know with Reynolds, we know Gibbs is going to have his role, but Gibbs' role is what it is, right? Probably like 8-ish carries, catch some passes. Reynolds will get most of the early down work. So I'm going to prioritize Reynolds over Elijah Mitchell.
Yeah, I feel better about Reynolds, getting touches on a more consistent basis. But I don't know that I'm starting him. Looking at Ford, Madison, Cook, I still think I'd rather start Ford over Reynolds. And if that's James Cook, I know, again, he didn't quite live up to our expectations. It's kind of annoying, just to be honest. But he gets the Patriots this week.
Yeah.
I think I might have to start him.
Yeah, I'd probably go James Cook as well.
So he kind of has a follow-up. Okay, so in a 12-team league, it must be a different league. Then you got Mason, Evans, Reynolds, Zeke on waivers. Let's go ahead and rank them.
Zeke dead last.
Yeah.
I would rank these guys Evans, Reynolds, Mason. That's how I'm ranking them. I mean, yeah, because again, we are hearing some talk that McCaffrey could play this week, that it's maybe just a pain tolerance thing. Now, maybe the 49ers want to be careful with him, and to be honest, they should be careful with Christian McCaffrey because they're not playing for week 7 and week 8. They're playing for playoffs and Super Bowl. But as we've seen this year, the 49ers aren't going to be careful with Christian McCaffrey. They're going to run this guy into the ground and just hope he's still standing when the playoffs come. So he could play this week. That's my whole point there. So I'm going to go Evans, Reynolds, Mason, and then Zeke. There's this huge this huge gap, and then there's Zeke.
Yeah. I think I'll pretty safely put Zeke last. And like you said, I think Evans has to be the number one now because we know he's going to be the guy for this week for sure. We'll see next week. Who knows? But again, Mason might not be the guy even this week. So I'm going to bump Mason down. I still would put him a little bit over Reynolds just because of the upside if CMC misses a week or two. But it's close. Okay, QB to stream. How's definitely a possibility. I like Derek Carr. Anybody else?
Hal, Carr, Stafford, if he's still out there. Jordan Love. I like Jordan Love this week.
That's right. Play the Broncos. So probably one of those guys. All right. And then Mary Jo. So speaking of quarterbacks, yesterday you said Goff, but here's some other options. Geno, Baker, Russ, Hal, Dobbs, Pickett, T-Law. T-Law's on waivers. That's interesting. Goff or Carr? Do you pick up T-Law?
Yeah, I think I go T-Law. But not only would I prefer to pick up T-Law, like I don't know if he's necessarily my favorite this week, but he's a guy that you can just pick up and now you don't have to think about quarterback rest of the season, assuming he doesn't get hurt, right? He's just a guy you can pretty much set and forget every week. I know he hasn't been putting up huge games, but it's not like he's been killing people. So I probably just grab T-Law, not so much because I think he's going to go off this week, but just more so it's like, okay, now I don't have to stream QB going forward.
Well, the issue, for this week is even though I think he's playing, but remember he had that knee thing at the end of the game, and it's kind of back and forth. Today it was like, yeah, it sounds good, probably, maybe, but you know how this goes. And,
right.
It's a Thursday game, and the Saints are a good defense, so I wouldn't want to start T-Law this week over those guys. But yeah, if I'm looking for a guy rest of the season, yeah, I agree. I would prefer T-Law. But I think you're fine with Goff this week. This week, I would prefer Goff.
Yes.
I'm surprised that, well, I guess I shouldn't be surprised. Nothing should surprise us anymore, should it?
No.
Sabason, this is it's worth discussion. Is Brandon Cooks a good pick?
I'm still not doing it. I mean, how many? Michael Gallup had, 10, 11 targets in that game? Should have been a big Gallup game. I don't know what happened. I don't know. Maybe in really deep leagues, sure, you can pick up Brandon Cooks, but
yeah,
never really did it for me this year.
You haven't been in on Cooks for a long time, I think. So I don't think having that one touchdown is gonna sway you too much. He got a few targets, but we're gonna need to see much more out of Cooks before you can say he's a great pickup. I think in a deep league you can pick him up, sure. But Reader Boyd, look, this is exactly remember what I said. I'm not starting T. Higgins. You know what's going to happen. He's going to play. And now Tyler Boyd, now that T. Higgins is back, so sure enough, Tyler Boyd scores. I knew it was going to happen. Boyd is on bye. No.
Yeah, Reed over Boyd. Look, they're going to come out of the bye. T. Higgins is going to be fully healthy. Tyler Boyd's going to go back to what he was, which is a guy sitting on your waivers. Reed, certainly the better stash than Tyler Boyd here.
Yep. All right, guys. Some more comments from our members. Trone Force, Lost Monty, got Wilson Hunt, Sharbs. Who should I start or try for one of those waiver guys?
I mean, I would definitely try for one of those waiver guys. I mean, it does sound like we're going to see Jeff Wilson this week, but I mean, how much Jeff Wilson are we going to see? The guy hasn't played since when last year and is just coming off of IR.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw this with a running back as talented as Jonathan Taylor when he first came back. We think Jeff Wilson's going out there and just getting a bunch of touches first week back. Probably not. They're going to have to ease him in, get him up to speed. Charbonnet not really getting the touches. It looked like for a while there that he was going to start, maybe carving out a role, and then that went away real quick. So if you can get Evans or Mason or Mitchell off of waivers, I'd prefer one of those guys.
Yeah, and I understand stashing guys like Wilson, Hunt, and Charbonnet. I don't want any of them in my lineup in week 7. I would rather just give Evans a spin, see what happens. And if you can't, then at least settle for, Mason or Mitchell, assuming CMC doesn't play. All right, Joe traded Ridley and Pitts for Ayuk. Good riddance. Good riddance to who? Both of them? I mean, I know it's annoying, but still, you think it's too much?
I think it's a little too much, and I'm guessing the person who had Ayuk might have said good riddance too, because I think this is sometimes like a thing where when players on our own team aren't doing well, we think like, oh man, this guy's a bum. But when players on other people's teams aren't doing well, we don't realize it as much.
Yep.
Because Ayuk has had 2 down games in a row. Right? So I'm wondering if the guy who traded you Ayuk was like, good riddance, get this guy off my team. He's a bum.
Yeah. Calvin Ridley's
So
a
yeah,
stud.
I do think this is a bit of an overpay, yes.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I guess you won't regret it. Hopefully, you have a decent tight end. But yeah, I do say I think this is a big IU game this week.
I
But
agree.
yeah, a little overpay. But if it makes you feel better, then it was worth it. Brian, am I crazy for not wanting any of the big waiver wire? No, not at all. I don't
Nope,
think
not
they're
at
that
all.
big.
Not at all. Yeah, not crazy at all. I'm not gonna go crazy trying to, add any of these guys.
Like I said at the top, it's a weird week because we got some injury replacements basically, but we don't really know how to assess these guys. And come on, none of these guys really should get you that excited because it's already been 6 weeks and they haven't been seeing the field. I mean, there's a reason. I liked Zach Evans pre-draft, evaluation, but it doesn't matter because Sean McVay is the one who has to like him. And
Right.
he didn't like him enough to play him until just now when everybody else got hurt. So we'll see. Jason Quinones. Should I trade Puka for Ford? Like just
No,
trade
no.
Ford? No,
Yeah, this is
no,
no.
no.
Don't. This is why like you can't really trade Puka right now. I mean, maybe you still could, but Puka Mania has certainly taken a big hit. So at this point, you got to hold Puka. I think Puka could have a nice game this week against the Steelers, unless Cooper Kupp just goes for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns, and then nobody else has a nice game, even Zach Evans. But Puka should have a nice game this week. So maybe after this week, if you're worried about it and you need a running back help, then you could trade Puka, but get a better running back than Ford.
Yeah, it's not like Puka is untraded. Like, sure, you could if you're getting fair value. You can do better than Ford. I mean, you should do better than Ford. I still like Ford, but yeah, you need to do better than that. All right, what's up? Kevin is back. Kevin Trotter needs a QB. Gino or Minshew?
Well, I'm not even that high on Geno this week, but I mean, man, can't start Minshew, especially against Cleveland. Whew. I mean, look, last week was ugly enough. Now Cleveland, oof, yeah, not starting Minshew.
You'll see the quarterback tight end start sit's going to drop. Was it tomorrow? Usually drops.
Yeah.
You'll hear exactly what we think about Minshew this week, but you got to go Geno here. Definitely Geno. All right, Michael Cazares, non PPR, traded Adams and D Hop for Burrow and Watson. Did this because he lost both Fields and A Rich at quarterback. So in that case, what do you think? Overpay or fair?
Um, I mean, I think it's okay. I haven't been very high on D Hop since he signed with the Titans. I haven't seen anything to change my mind outside of that one game against the Colts where, every wide receiver one not named Calvin Ridley smashes against Colts. Obviously, I would still prefer Adams over Christian Watson. But look, you need a quarterback. You got Burrow. Man, you lost Fields and Richardson. That's pretty brutal. So, yeah, I think it's probably pretty fair. Probably pretty fair.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you have to do something. I will say this, it is non PPR, so these high end receivers even aren't quite as valuable. You know what I mean? And Adams in a PPR league, of course, much better. And like Watson might get a slight bump in a non PPR league relative
True.
to other receivers. So I think that evens it out a little bit. So I think it's fine. Yeah, and you got DJ Moore. That's kind of good hurt too. You had that Fields Moore stack, and you were loving it for exactly 2 weeks.
Yeah,
And
right.
then would you pick up Dell, Dobbs, Bourne, Charbonnet, or Warren?
Well, what do you? I don't know what you need more. You have Olave, DJ Moore, and Christian Watson now. Might just pick up Dobbs.
Yeah, I think you probably need some wide receiver depth there.
Yeah. You need wide receiver help. I go with Dobbs.
No need to pick up Dell. He's on bye this week. Yeah, I'll go Dobbs. Mumble Dragon.
Don't fall for the Kendrick Bourne trap again.
The Bourne conspiracy. Mumble Dragon, any suggestions for trades for Javonte Williams? It's a PPR shallow league. So, like these guys, he says these guys are on waiver wire.
Well, if these guys are on waiver wire, I doubt anybody's going to trade for Javonte Williams.
Yeah,
because if these guys are on waiver wire, Javonte Williams should certainly be on waiver wire. I mean, if you're trying to trade for Javonte Williams, I mean, I think you should be able to give the guy like a bag of footballs or something to get, give him like some fab. If you guys are a fab league, I mean, really, like, no, if Drake London, George Pickens, if these guys are on waiver wire, Javonte Williams should absolutely be on waiver wire. So,
he's saying target in trades for Javonte Williams, and then he's talking about receivers. I'm going to assume he's thinking about trading away Javonte, like to get a receiver or something like that. But yeah, what are you going to get for Javonte Williams? I mean, just pick up George Pickens.
Yeah, I would just drop him for Pickens or London, honestly.
I mean, if you can trade him, I sure get $5 a fab or something. Never know. Like, honestly, I don't know. Clutchbox. Should I trade CMC, James Cook, and Cortland Sutton for Jacobs, Raheem Mostert, Aaron Jones, and Josh Downs? Okay, so again, this would be CMC, James Cook, and Cortland Sutton for Jacobs, Mostert, Jones, and Josh Downs. You're getting 3 startable running backs and a basically bench type receiver. Trading away CMC, decent RB2, and then Cortland Sutton.
Then basically like a bench type wide receiver.
Kind of.
You could, I guess you could, if in a pinch, you could at least start. But I think you could probably start Josh Downs in a pinch. But, oh, man, this is tough because you don't really want to trade away CMC. Jacobs should be smashing. Jacobs' usage is like insane. Insane. He should absolutely be smashing. And Raheem is smashing. But what is Raheem like? Oh man, this is really tough because what do we feel long term about Raheem and Aaron Jones? That's really what this comes down to me. Like, how much do we like these guys rest of the season?
Yeah, I feel like this is more like you're going quantity over quality, but then you think about it, you're saying you got Achane on IR. Okay, well, when Achane comes back, sure, we've seen both Mostert and Achane go off in the same game, right? But do you want both of those guys? And then you got Jacobs and you got Aaron Jones. Like, are you going to be able to start all of these guys is the question. And are you going to want to start all these guys is the question. And wouldn't you rather just have CMC and Achane? You know what I mean? I don't think I do this is what I'm saying. I think I just don't know that this really helps your team.
Yeah, certainly an interesting offer. It's hard to trade away CMC. Like, look, if the injury was serious, if they're like, yeah, he's going to go on IR or something, then maybe, because then it's like, can you really get by with CMC and Achane on IR? But it doesn't sound like his injury is serious.
Right.
Yeah, probably just hold.
Yeah, this sounds more like you're worried about this week. You're like, Cook hasn't been that great. CMC might not play. Well, at least I get Mostert and Jacobs. But I think in the long run, you won't like this. That's my concern. Robert? Trade Etienne, Barkley, DJ Moore, Christian Watson for Kelsey, Chase, and Hubbard. So
some monster trades.
Blockbusters.
Etienne, Barkley, DJ Moore, Christian Watson, Kelsey, Chase, and Hubbard. Nah, give me the Etienne Barkley side. Etienne looks great. Look, I know Barkley didn't put up a big fantasy game, but his usage was incredible. Even if DJ Moore is dead now because Fields, let's say, misses the whole season, you still got Christian Watson. I mean, Kelsey and Chase, yeah, that's nice. But Hubbard, I mean, okay, like he's on a bye this week. Maybe Sanders comes back. It's not, I don't think like when Sanders comes back, even if Hubbard is now the one, it's not like Sanders is gone. They're paying Sanders a lot of money. They just signed
Right.
him. So I think this is just a little too much. I mean, you're basically getting Kelsey and Chase and then like running back that you may not ever start for two really good running backs and potentially two stud running backs, really, and potentially two really good wide receivers. I'm taking that TN side here.
Yeah. I don't think you can trade away two high-end RB1s just to upgrade a tight end. And then you get Chase, but you're giving up two receivers. Yeah, I think the running backs are just too valuable is the thing.
Not to mention, it says 3 flex, so depth is more important
Right.
in a league like that.
You can't think of Hubbard as a guy that you're going to want to start or flex
No.
all year long. It's just no. This is not some exciting new rookie who finally got his shot. He's been around a couple of years. Like he could have been the starter this whole time. There's a reason they went out and got Miles Sanders. Like Chuba Hubbard was already there. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So Abimanu, welcome back. Full PPR 10 team offer Rashad White and Goddard or Pitts to get Hawkinson and Flowers.
Yeah, I'd be okay. I'd be okay with either of these, whether it's White and Goddard, White and Pitts. I'd be okay with that to get Hawkinson and Flowers.
Oh, yeah, I would do that. And he's saying also could offer White and Palmer or Addison to get Garrett Wilson.
I don't know about that. Like, I don't know if there's a big difference between Garrett Wilson and say like Addison. I know he came off a nice game here, and look, he's getting great usage, but it's still Zach Wilson. I mean,
Yeah,
he did
changing.
not have to play against Darius Slay this week. Let's not forget 2 weeks ago when he played the Broncos, how bad it was. Like, let's not overreact to one decent game. It wasn't even like he blew up, right? He just had a good game. So I'd rather just keep White and Addison in that case.
Yeah, I'm doing that first deal. You can get Hawk and Flowers. I like it. All right, let's see. Gabriel says he's been underperforming. Mahomes, JJ, Olave, Puka, and Nico got good players. Just bad luck with injuries here because you also got Monty along with let's see, Walker, Cook, Warren, Spears, and Sanders. Flex options, advice. Let's see. What can we do with this squad? You got Nico on bye, you got JJ that's injured, you got Monty that's injured.
Man. I mean, I don't know how many. It's a 3 keeper league, so you don't want to do something crazy like trade away JJ.
Right. No.
I
mean, you could.
don't know. I mean, obviously you're starting Olave and Puka.
Yeah.
You're starting Walker and I guess James Cook.
You can get by with Cook this week. He's fine.
I mean, you can't start Sanders, obviously. You can't start Spears. You can't start Nico. I guess you're flexing Warren. I mean,
would you? I don't know if this is the whole roster. I feel like there should be more than this, but anyways.
yeah.
Would you drop somebody there to pick up Zach Evans? Just take a swing. To me, Jaylen Warren is not a guy I have to hold on to. Like the upside isn't enough.
Yeah, you could. I mean, yeah, I'm hoping this isn't your whole roster, especially in a 12-team 3-keeper league. You got to have more than this, I would hope. Yeah, try to get Zach Evans.
Oh, wait
I
a
think
minute.
McLaughlin's an okay add too. I don't know if I'd start him this week, but
I just realized because I saw the Foreman. I didn't know what it was. I think he's saying he's Foreman, like Don.
Oh yeah, you can drop Donta Foreman.
Yeah, you can drop Foreman. Yeah.
He didn't do a whole lot. Rashawn Johnson coming back. You can drop Foreman.
I just put that together. I think he's talking about Foreman. I think you can drop Foreman. Yeah. Dan Henry, welcome back, Dan. Despite talking me out of 3 weeks, done with Rashad. I mean, what, Rashad White?
I guess.
Well,
He hasn't even gotten a point in your league? Not even a point?
I mean, yeah, Rashad White was a pretty easy pass last week going against the Lions. Anyways, okay, have Brees, Etienne, and must start. That's pretty good. Non PPR rest of the season. Rashawn Hunt, Tajay Chuba, pick one. Rest of the season.
Well, I think I go with Rashawn rest of the season because he has a path now to show what he can do. Like I like Chuba again. Like I don't think when Sanders comes back, which could be after the bye, that like Chuba may be the lead back when they come back, but it's still going to be probably a split. Yeah, I'm not really buying into Hunt. I do like Tajay Spears, but he's probably going to need either Derrick Henry to get hurt or traded to have any real value. Rashawn has a pretty clear path right now for the next, few weeks here to show what he can do, potentially as the lead back. So I'm going to go Rashawn out of these guys. Although I prefer him more on PPR, but still going to go Rashawn.
Yeah, Hunt again has zero. I have zero interest in him. Spears just as a handcuff. Chuba, I think, again, just sad to say he's going to kind of turn back into what he's been, the backup, a 1B type. But I like Rashawn the best. I think that they're going to have to run the ball more, rely on the running backs more. They don't want Bayesian, dropping back 30 plus times. So preferred in PPR, like you said, but I think it's got to be Rashawn. Then Ramu is back as well. PPR got Ramondre. Would you start Rashawn if healthy or pick up one of those guys? I mean, if CMC is ruled out, like right now, would that make you go with one of those guys, or you still think
Look,
it's
maybe I'm going to be totally wrong on this, but I just don't have a good feeling that one of these guys is going to be the guy. Like Evans is actually the one I feel the best about will be the guy, but I still have worries about Evans in the fact that A, he might not be very good, and B, they may just not like remember this game last week. Kyron Williams, I think, had like 4 carries in the entire first half. Like he was doing like he had nothing. He had like less than a point. He had less than 1 fantasy point. And then they went into halftime and were like, oh, maybe we should actually run the ball. And they started running the ball and it worked. But now that Kyron and Ronnie Rivers are out, if he has no trust in Zach Evans, well, what if they only run the ball like 8 times the whole game? Right? Because they're just like, we have no trust in this guy.
very possible.
Man. I'd probably just go Rashawn. I mean, I'd still grab these guys. Like, still grab them, of course. But I probably would just go Rashawn if he plays, which he should. It was only, I always say only a concussion, which I shouldn't say. But when I say only a concussion, I mean it wasn't like a knee or an ankle or something where you have to worry about it affecting his performance, affecting the snaps. If he's cleared from the concussion, he's good to go. He'll get the snaps. It's a good matchup this week. He's looked pretty good. He's definitely a better prospect than Evans. So I'd probably start Rashawn if he plays, but I'd still be trying to grab some of these guys. Maybe not Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, I do like Rashawn. I think this week, at the risk of getting demarcadoed, I would say that if we know CMC is not going to play, I would roll out Mason and see what he can do because it's the Vikings. Even if he gets 50% of the carries, I think that's still pretty good in San Francisco. He's shown, he's got a little bit of juice there. If not, then just take a chance on Evans, see what he does. The intern of lore, Gibbs or White? Which underperforming running back do you prefer?
Man. It's not a horrible spot for White this week against Atlanta. But at the same time, how excited can you really be about Rashad White? But we also know Gibbs, even though you think like, oh, no Monty. It's like, yeah, but we've seen this movie many times. We know how this ends. He gets his 6 to 8 carries, he gets a few catches, and everybody complains about him not being on the field. I don't know. I might go White. At least he's got the volume. He catches passes. If they can get near the goal line, he'll get the goal line work. Can't say I like either of these guys this week, but I'll go White slightly over Gibbs.
Yeah. It's not the kind of decision you want to make. Hey, it could be worse. At least you're not deciding between Keontae Ingram or, Jerick McKinnon or something like that. Yeah, I get the feeling we're going to see more Craig Reynolds than we want to see, especially if you're a Gibbs owner. So I think I'm going to have to go White. It's not a terrible matchup.
Right.
Austin Lowe. What's up, Austin? He's got a 10-man league. Won by 0.7 of a point to keep my season alive.
Nice.
All right. So this week, Geno Jacobs, Rashawn Kupp, Diggs, Kittle, Cooper. Got some players on bye. All right. Traded Madison for Rashawn and Kittle. Nice.
Yeah, I don't hate it. I'm not really Madison's getting the work, but I mean, not doing much with it. So yeah, I don't know if I don't know if at the end of the season you're going to look back and say you won, but I think you're at least going to look back and say you didn't lose. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to miss Madison.
No.
At least you upgraded at tight end, so there you go. I think it's worth it. And then look, when Pollard comes back and Burrow, they got those bye weeks out of the way, you have a really solid lineup. You do. You got Kupp, you got Diggs, now you got Kittle, Cooper. I think you're fine. All right, let's do a couple of these non-super chats here. Yeah, exactly. All right, so sorry, I'm streaming through here. Tomas Medina, hola. Stream Seahawks or Green Bay? We need a defense question.
Let's see. Seattle at home versus Arizona. That's pretty nice. Green Bay on the road against Denver. That's also pretty nice. I don't know. I usually like to favor defenses at home if possible. So I'm going to go Seahawks.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Go with the home team. Arizona, maybe turning back to what we expected. Dobbs has been turning the ball over the last 2 weeks. So I'm going to go Seahawks. And Seahawks defense has been getting better. The first 4 weeks, they weren't good, really, but they've slowly gotten a little bit better. And then let's go with Devontae Smith. This is from Joven. I love NCAA 12, I think. Right. Devontae Smith or Christian Watson?
I still got to go with Smith. I'm not worried about Julio. I do like Christian Watson this week. I think Christian Watson could have a big game, but we also know Christian Watson's one of those guys who could do very little. Like he's not a sure thing. I like Smith. It's a much better matchup this week against the Dolphins. Xavier Howard looking very questionable to play. And even if he does, he's probably going to be on A.J. Brown most of the time. It should be a shootout. It should be a high-scoring game. They're at home. Hurts has to be better this week. He can't be as bad as he was last week or worse.
You would think.
I'm going Smith still.
I actually really like Watson this week, as you'll find out when you watch all our videos. But yeah, I'm still not sitting Smith. I know I said that last week, and we were both like, "Yeah, this is it. He's going to have a big game." He didn't have a big game,
right?
But he's still getting targeted. This is a good matchup, much better matchup. So, I mean, I hate to bench Watson, but I don't think I can bench Smith, if that makes sense. Which is a great follow here, DC. Let's just put a number on it. What's the panic meter on Devontae? 1 through 10.
1 through 10, 4.
That's see, I held it up just so y'all don't think I'm just copying what you say. I was gonna say 4.
Yeah. Like, you can't sit here and pretend like there's no panic, of course, but like it's still very low. Still very low.
Yeah, not panicked. Now, what about this? Speaking of Watson, Patrick says somebody in the league dropped Christian
Yes.
Watson. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
How about this? Yeah, I don't know. I don't get it. This is why I say it. And I didn't mention Watson. I mentioned Dobbs on the waiver wire. It's like, look, somebody might have dropped him because of the bye week or whatever. Deontay Johnson, maybe somebody. Apparently, somebody dropped Christian Watson. Go get it. Okay. Steven, how big of a league would it have to be to pick up Leonard Fournette?
Like, if the only running backs on waiver wire were Zeke or Fournette, I'd pick up Fournette.
Wow.
That's
so
it.
What is that, like a 30-man league?
At least, might be a 300-man league. I don't know.
But it depends because like in Sleeper and some of these other formats, like you go and you look at the free agents and you see guys who retired like 20 years ago and they're still on there. Like what?
Yeah.
Like, you got to clean up your system a little bit. Once you start scrolling and you see guys that played in the 90s, you're like, okay, I've gone way too far. But
I gotta assume how much is like Fournette trending? Is he one? Julio Jones is already the number 5 trending player on Sleeper. He's been added in 316,000 leagues. What are we doing, people? And Leonard Fournette is number 9. He's top 10. Hasn't even signed anywhere, and he's a top 10 trending player.
He's in the news trending, so he's going to be trending. Yeah. Look, just to prove my point, go on here. Like some of your options here, waiver wire, you could pick up Lamar Miller, Wendell Smallwood, LaShawn McCoy. Maybe he's on a team somewhere.
What would happen? Okay, what would happen right now if like the Bills were going to re-sign LaShawn McCoy?
Like number 2 trending player, guaranteed. All right. Well, let's go on. Let's see. We got Flirtsy over in London. You might have missed a little bit of Mason Mitchell. We're going to talk about it quite a bit because we've got a lot of questions. Have CMC. You already have Mitchell. Okay. Yeah. Coach speak. I don't know. Are you worried about that, saying that Mitchell is the guy or whatever you said?
Yeah, it's why I don't have a good feel for either of these guys. I will say, like, I have in some of our, I think in like a couple of our end games leagues, I have Mitchell stashed already. I'm just going to hold Mitchell. I'm not going to I'm just not going to spend any fab. I'm not going to waste a waiver claim. I'm just going to hold Mitchell. And if it's not Mitchell, oh well, it's not Mitchell. But like, I just don't have a strong enough feeling. I mean, maybe it will just be one of these guys. Maybe it'll be a split. Maybe Christian McCaffrey will play and it won't even matter.
Yeah, exactly.
So for me, if you already have Mitchell, I would just hold Mitchell and see what happens.
Yeah, just hold Mitchell. Exactly. You're good either way because if CMC doesn't play, you got a backup. And then I do like Mason still, but I can't say now and I'm convinced that he's going to be the guy. It's probably just going to be a 50-50 split. So, and then the follow-up here for defense, Ravens or Browns?
Ravens get the Lions. Browns get Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
I don't really need to say any more, do I? The Browns, legitimately the best defense in the league. Like, as good as the Dolphins' offense is compared to the rest of the NFL, that's how good the Browns' defense is compared to the rest of the NFL. Like, they're head and shoulders better than any other defense in real life. And they get Gardner Minshew. It's the Browns.
It's the Browns. It's definitely the Browns. You can probably just roll them out rest of the season. They already had their bye too. Jedi Koff, full PPR, offered Olave for Puka. Would you take Olave? I guess got offered Olave for Puka.
I think it's pretty fair. Pretty lateral. I'd probably have these guys ranked very similarly right now. I mean, Olave clearly the one on his team, but the downside, like, they are on pace right now for 14 passing touchdowns. Yeah, like imagine Olave has been putting up big games without touchdowns. Like, But you'd like to see some touchdowns. You'd like to see Derek Carr start throwing for some touchdowns. Maybe it starts this week against the Jaguars. Let's hope.
I think he will. I think it'll happen. I'm not too worried about Olave. I would take Olave for Puka. Yeah, rest of the season. I think that's good.
It's very close for me.
All right, T. I feel like I've been waiting. Was the third comment, even though this is not a super chat, but obviously watching for a while. So let's get to this. Got Lamb, Thielen, London, Cooper, Watson, Swift, Brees, and Ford looking to trade for Kelsey and Pacheco. Interesting. All right. I'm assuming you're on board with selling Thielen to try to get Kelsey.
Yeah. Look, I will say, Thielen, one of my biggest misses this year. I was like, I was like, how are people drafting Dusty Adam Thielen? He's been awesome. But I'm still not ready to go all in on Thielen rest of the season. Like, I'm still looking to sell high on Thielen. If I'm wrong all season, if somehow 34-year-old, is he 34? 34-year-old Adam Thielen finishes, first of all, I think the last 34-year-old wide receiver to do what he did was Jerry Rice. So, I mean, do we think Jerry Rice, like Adam Thielen, is as good as Jerry Rice? Maybe. But anyways, yes, that's a long-winded way of saying yes, I'm on board with trading Thielen for Kelsey. I mean, to get Pacheco, I'm gonna assume. I mean, this is how it should be. Like the guy who has Pacheco is probably pretty deep at running back. Therefore, he can lose. He can be okay losing Pacheco. So he probably doesn't need a wide receiver. But I'm guessing. I mean, does he have Laporta? Like, because this is the thing when you're trading for Kelsey. It's not just that, hey, I want Kelsey. It's like, yeah, of course, everybody wants Kelsey. It's also like, what is your opponent going to do if they trade away Kelsey? What is their fallback plan?
Yeah. What's their motivation to trade Travis Kelsey right now? That's the other thing. They've got to be upgrading somewhere. You've got to give them something that they would want. Maybe they want Adam Thielen. Maybe they don't. Maybe they don't trust it. I mean, you've got to tempt them somehow.
Yeah, it would be easier if you had a guy like, or if they have like Sam Laporta sitting on their bench, then it'll be easier because it's like the person with Kelsey could say, well, okay, I got Sam Laporta. Or like if you had Sam Laporta, or if you had some other, decent tight end that at least they could replace Kelsey with, that would make this trade a lot easier.
Right. Even like an Evan Engram or somebody like Goddard, somebody who could be just kind of a set and forget. And I don't know, we're trading for Pacheco. Like, you got Swift and you got Brees. Am I starting Pacheco over those guys? Probably not.
No.
So I don't know that you really need Pacheco for any particular reason. So I think, sure, try to trade Thielen for Kelsey, package another player who's not a stud, maybe a London. Thielen in London, sure, I would take Kelsey for those guys. I will say this, though, we didn't talk about it, but if you saw Frank Reich handing over the play call duties now, he won't be the OC. You got to wonder if that changes things instead of his really safe, conservative, short, just pass it to Adam Thielen and don't turn it over philosophy. You got to wonder if things change a little bit. So,
yeah,
not that we're trying to find a reason for Adam Thielen to fail, but just saying it might change. Things might change a little bit. Trigger Trey needs a wide receiver 2 and a flex out of Ayuk, Stevenson, Cooper, Watson.
Well, I still got to go Ayuk this week. This week especially, I think could be a big Ayuk week.
Oh, yeah.
And as much as I like Christian Watson, I got to go Amari Cooper, especially if Deshaun Watson plays. They're playing the Colts. Look, I put Ridley on the booms, and he didn't boom. It's only the second time all year the Colts have not allowed a 100-yard receiver. Even DeAndre Hopkins looked like vintage DeAndre Hopkins against the Colts. Like, they are really bad against wide receiver ones. Cooper, even last year, over 100, last week, even looked good with PJ Walker. So I'm going to go Ayuk and Cooper.
I definitely need to start Ayuk this week. Even if Debo plays, I don't care. I'm still starting Ayuk no matter what. It's either Cooper or Watson. I do like Watson a lot, but I can't bench Cooper against the Colts. So it's Ayuk and Cooper for me. Speaking of Stevenson, though, Spearsy just wants to say thanks because recommending Ramondre over White helped him win. So there you go.
Nice.
Sometimes the things you don't think matter do matter. So that's why we try to nail them all. Raheem, Texas. I'm just assuming PPR needs one for flex. You got Godwin, Flowers, or Lockett. Flowers was a smash last week, but now he gets the Lions.
Yeah, I'm not quite as high on Flowers this week. I still think Flowers is certainly startable. Like I'm mostly starting Flowers, but I don't love him this week. I do think Lockett could have a big game, but I think it's really going to be a Metcalf big game. I really like Chris Godwin because when you look at it, like you look at Godwin's 2 recent nice games, before the bye, obviously Evans left very early in that game with a hamstring, and then they had to throw it to Godwin. But you look last week, Evans was dealing with AJ. Who did they play last week? Saints, right? They played the Saints, and he was dealing with Marshawn Lattimore, and that left so more of the passes went to Mike Evans. Well, when you look at the Falcons, who they're playing this week, AJ Terrell, they've done a great job against number 1 wide receivers, where they're getting beat, and was a reason why I really liked Curtis Samuel. Was it Curtis Samuel? Who did the Falcons play last week? I can't remember. We talk about so many players, I can't remember everybody.
Washington.
No, Atlanta. Who did Atlanta play last week?
Tampa Bay last week played Detroit.
Yeah, who did Atlanta play last week?
Washington.
Okay, that is right. So I like Curtis Samuel. I put him on the sneaky starts because I said, hey, they give up a lot of points from the slot, and he had a nice game. Well, that's Chris Godwin now. So anyways, I like Godwin this week because of those reasons. I think Evans maybe struggles a little bit, and that opens things up more for Godwin. So it's close between him and Lockett. I know Lockett's tough to bench, but I think I go Godwin this week.
I was leaning Lockett, but when you say you're interested in Chris Godwin, that makes my ears perk up a little bit because you're not always on Godwin. You know what I mean? I'm a little bigger on Godwin in general. I know this year, really, I was just like, well, Baker Mayfield, like whatever. He's gotten him the ball the last couple of weeks, so it is this week between Godwin and Lockett. I do like the matchup a little bit better for Seattle. I think I'm going to go Lockett, but it's close between those two. And then we got Bryson Trevena. Trade Pollard, JJ, and Addison for Tyreek and Mike Evans.
I mean, on the surface, this feels like a severe overpay. But there are some legitimate concerns about JJ now, because now they're saying, like, when his 4 weeks are up, they're going to do some imaging on his hamstring to say, and it could be, to see how it looks. It could be 6 weeks. 6 weeks would put him when?
Well, 6 weeks, what, from right now?
No, 6 weeks from when he first went on IR, which was last week, right? So it'd be week 12?
Yeah, week 12. So well before the playoffs.
Yeah. I don't know. This feels like a severe overpay, unless you're desperate. Like maybe you're like, you have to win. Like you're sitting at 2-4 or 1-5 or something, and you have to win. You need guys that can help you right now, then maybe, but this feels like an overpay to me.
Yeah, I think it's a little too much. Like you said, only if you feel like you need to win this week, because Pollard and JJ both aren't playing for you this week. Addison's not going to carry you. Tyreek could carry you. So I'd rather not give up this much, but only if you really, really, really need to. Roberts with, let's see, same question. Trade those 4 guys for those 3. Well, I think we already answered this. So having Eckler and Henry, I guess, does that change things? I guess that's why he's asking.
I mean, maybe like if you're saying like, hey, one of these guys has to be on my bench every week.
Right.
But if that's the case, I would just say like, because look, how good did it feel to have Eckler and Henry when Eckler was not playing?
Right.
Like you're one injury away from being like not having enough, like not feeling good about your running backs.
This team for 4 weeks was without Eckler and Barkley, so you only had Etienne and Henry. So, I mean, yeah, exactly. You should know that depth matters for running back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I still now if you could take out one of those running backs, like if you could do Etienne, DJ Moore, and Watson for Kelsey and Chase, or Barkley, DJ Moore, and Watson for Kelsey and Chase, I'd be okay with that. But I don't want to give up both those running backs.
Yeah, and also remember, because it says down there 3 flex, you should be able to start all these running backs if there are 3
Right. Yeah, that's
flexes.
true. That's true.
So if you want to trim this down and you can trade one of those running backs, like either Barkley or Etienne, plus DJ Moore, like just to get Kelsey or just to get Chase, then yeah, I think you can do that and that's fine. We got a new member and it's Daniel Romero. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you,
And
Daniel.
he wants to let us know that he was going to burn the last of his fab on Zach Evans, or could just start Foreman this week.
Ooh, already down to your end of your fab, huh? I will say, I mean, I think it depends on the league. Like in a league where there's not a lot of activity on your waiver wire, you can burn the last year fab, assuming you can use 0 fab. Like if your league isn't one of those leagues where like there's a lot of waiver claims, like my home league, some weeks nobody even makes a claim. Then yeah, burn the last year fab. Make sure you get Zach Evans because who cares? Like you know what I mean? But if you're in a league where there's like people are always active on the waiver wire, you might want to hold on to that fab because I'm not like all in on Zach Evans or anything.
Yeah, I think it's risky. I mean, I don't want to start Deontay Foreman this week if Rashawn Johnson is back.
Yeah.
You really got no other options to start? That's my question. So, yeah, I would hate to burn every last dollar I have just on Zach Evans because Foreman should still play a little bit. Victor Blanco, 12 team PPR, got Goff, Stroud, Watson, Bijan, Kamara, Drake, London, Calvin Ridley, CD, Garrett Wilson, Mark Andrews, and Laporta. 2 and 4. What do you recommend here?
All right. Well, I think you could drop Stroud. Well, hold on. You have Goff, Stroud, and Deshaun. So now I have to ask: is it a super flex league?
Yeah. If it's not, there's no reason to have 3 quarterbacks.
No. If it's not a super flex, yeah, drop 2 of these. Whoever pick the guy you're gonna play this week and drop the other 2. If it's super flex, don't drop any of them. Don't drop any of them as super flex. Drake, London, Calvin. I mean, there's nobody else here you can drop. Like there's nobody you can drop that's droppable here. I'm guessing you have more guys on your bench. I mean, you're 2 and 4. I will say, trade wise, if it is super flex, this is probably a good week to trade CJ Stroud because he's on the bye. He can't help you this week, and if you could package him and somebody else, and what do you need here? Maybe get. Although, I mean, this team looks well. Okay, I would package like CJ Stroud and maybe Laporta. And see, is there a team in your league who maybe, because look, I'm in a super flex league. I'm assuming it's super flex, where some guys wait a long time on QB and then they're like, oh, why do they like their QBs are Russell Wilson and Baker Mayfield in a super flex league. You offer them CJ Stroud and Sam Laporta because you got Andrews. You could probably get a pretty nice return, like a stud, like a true wide receiver 1, because that's what you're missing here. Although you do have CD, but I'd like another wide receiver 1, or even maybe see, the problem with running back is like, I mean, I don't know, maybe you can get a Swift, maybe you can get a Bijan right now, maybe you could get Pollard, but he's not playing this week and you need to win. But assuming it's super flex, I would be looking to package like Stroud and Laporta.
Yeah, that's your best trade asset there because you have 2 really good tight ends. You might as well trade one. This team needs running back depth. I'm assuming you have somebody else on the bench, but maybe not. Maybe This is a single quarterback league. The fact that you got 3 quarterbacks and 2 tight ends there, maybe there's just not room for a running back. But yeah, you don't need all those quarterbacks, and you don't need Laporta. Look, maybe because of trade value, maybe package Goff and Laporta to somebody and get a high-end running back or something. That might tempt somebody too. All right, Carl, 4 straight wins. Very nice. Almost tied for highest points. Yeah, this is just the start, though. Got to navigate. Just get to the playoffs. Build the best team for the postseason. That's what you got to do.
Yep.
Sven Dragon, would you drop Moss for Zach Evans?
Oh, man, Zach Moss. Can we just get like 70% JT this week so I don't have to answer these Zach Moss questions anymore? He's been like the toughest guy for me this year, or at least recently, because he's been the toughest guy since JT came back. I mean, it was easy before JT, right? It was like, yeah, just play Zach Moss. See, this my worry with dropping Zach Moss, because this is something I always think about when I'm dropping a player. Like, if I drop this player, what's the likelihood somebody else then picks him back up? I think the likelihood of Zach Moss getting picked up is very high. I never want to drop a player that I think is going to then get immediately picked back up. Like, I think in a vacuum, I prefer Zach Evans because I do think we see 60 to 70% JT this week, and then Zach Moss is pretty much unusable. But if we don't, if I'm wrong, you're going to really regret dropping Zach Moss. So is there anybody else you could drop?
Yeah, and it's funny because he kind of answered this. I think somebody else in the chat said something about it. He said, no, that's basically his worst player at this point. So, yeah, I if you don't need Evans as a guy like to stream or to flex or to start, just hold. I'd say just hold.
Yeah, I mean, if Zach Moss is your worst guy, you probably really don't need Zach Evans.
Yeah, I don't think Evans is a guy you have to pick, run out and pick up. Paulo 10 got PPR trade. Would you trade away AJB and White for Breece Hall and Mike Evans? Oh, it's hard to trade Brown without getting a true stud in return.
Yeah, this comes down to your belief in Breece Hall. I mean, look, the volume is now there for Breece Hall. I will say he was not going to have a great fantasy day. He was going to have an okay fantasy day, right? He was going to have an okay day. It wasn't going to be like horrible, but it wasn't going to be like a great day until that Jalen Hurts interception, and then the Eagles let him score. Like, they just let him run in, right? Because their only chance was to get the ball back and try to score. But he's getting the volume now. He's getting the volume. It's just a matter of, how good is he going forward and how good is this offensive line and this offense going forward? The thing here, though, for me is, like, I think Evans is a pretty nice upgrade over White. But, man, it would be hard to trade away A.J. Brown and PPR right now. I think I'm holding A.J. Brown.
Yeah, I just don't think you're getting enough back. You're not getting a clear stud here either way. Yeah, it's nice to have Hall instead of White. Definitely makes you feel better at running back, but I don't think it's quite enough. Julio saying hi with Pollard on bye, Ramondre or Gibbs.
I'm definitely going Ramondre here. I'm not feeling like what's going to happen with Gibbs. Like I said, 6 to 8 carries, 3 catches, and everybody complaining why did they draft this guy with the number 12 pick? That's what's going to happen.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's Ramondre. Would you flex Addison, Kirk, or Lockett?
I'm going Kirk here. I'm definitely going Kirk here. Actually, I really like Christian Kirk. It sounds like Trevor Lawrence is going to play. I'm going Christian Kirk.
Yeah, definitely can't feel as good about Addison this week going against Niners. Kirk, fine matchup. Not worried about him. Lockett, I do like. Although this is one thing where I say on paper, Lockett definitely has the better defensive matchup. Kirk's just getting the target volume. And, I would say if Trevor Lawrence doesn't play, okay, I'll go to Lockett. But for now, I'd keep Kirk in there.
Well, I'll say this is why I like Kirk.
Oh.
And I talked about it on a video, our Boom video. Because the Saints have Marshawn Lattimore.
Mm-hmm.
They give up a ton from the slot. And they're very good on the outside. And didn't we just see this against the Bucks? Marshawn Lattimore did a good job against Evans. Chris Godwin had a very, very nice game. I think we see that again with Ridley and Kirk.
This is true. Well, you know what? I'll give you that because at least Jaguars have a capable backup.
I mean, look, if Trevor Lawrence is out, I play Lockett. I mean, I don't play Kirk over Lockett if it's not Trevor Lawrence. But if Lawrence plays, I'm going Kirk. But yeah, if he's out, go Lockett.
All right, so now let's go to Big Luscious. What is up?
What's up?
Would you guys trade Pollard for Brees, or are you still holding Pollard?
I'm still holding Pollard. I mean, man, I don't know what to make of Pollard.
Didn't quite smash.
No, didn't quite smash. Man.
But he did at least get his in the passing game. And that's one good thing about Pollard is even if the rushing has been disappointing, he's getting the volume, but especially as a pass catcher. That's something Brees Hall really isn't getting. So, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think I want to trade away Pollard right now.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. What do you mean? I mean, yeah, even he didn't have a bad game. I mean, he had a bad game. Yeah, rushing wise, he had a bad game last night, but 6 for 80 catching. Of course, he had that big long reception, but that's what he can do, right? When you get him out in space, he's getting just insane volume. Yeah, I probably hold Pollard.
Hold for now. And then we got Money Main. Starters, Pat Mahomes, Etienne, Zach Moss, DJ Moore, Chris Godwin, Michael Pittman, Kelsey on the bench, Akers, Charbonnet, Shaheed, QJ, Gainwell, and Mayer. Any ideas to replace Zach Moss? All right, glad you asked.
Open waivers. You can go get anybody right now is what you're saying.
Open waivers. Okay, so you don't have to worry about Fab and all that. I mean, don't know who's available. What do you think? I mean, we don't know who is available in your league, but
yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna have to assume the typical names, right? Zach Evans, Craig Reynolds,
right.
49ers guys.
I'll say right now, and look, I've said this pretty much all year. Like, Quentin Johnston's not going to do anything this year. I think we've now have all seen this on prime time last night. Now everyone's like, oh, look, he's not going to do anything. So you can drop him. I think you can drop Gainwell. He's not going to do anything for you really either.
I mean, look, I'm if I have Travis Kelce, I'm dropping Mayer. I'm not holding 2 tight ends when I have Travis Kelce.
Well, yeah, if you have Kelce, you don't need a backup tight end.
Like, yeah. If Kelce gets hurt, Mayer's not saving your team.
No, and I'm not so in on Mayer. I'm like, hey, why don't you trade Kelce and start Mayer? Like, I wouldn't do that. I'm saying I wouldn't do that. Because you don't, I hate to say it, you really don't have a number 1 receiver here. Now that DJ Moore is not going to do it for you. So you need Kelce, kind of.
Again, I mean, look, I would drop Quentin Johnston, go pick up Zach Evans. I would drop Mayer, I would drop Mayer and Gainwell, pick up the 49ers running backs. I mean, if you have open waiver wires, just go do it. You know what I mean? Just go do it. Just go drop those guys and pick up Evans and the 49ers running backs and then just see how the week plays out.
Yeah. You just really don't have any trade value on this bench. these guys really more needed to be dropped than traded. And the only real kind of sell high asset you have right now in your starting lineup would be the guys you can't be trading, like Etienne and Kelsey. So, yeah, just kind of keep playing the waiver game and hope that you hit on another one. And then we got from Germany, CR.
What's up?
Greetings. I am 5-1. Very nice. Half PPR, 4 points for quarterback, 3 receivers, 1 flex, 12-team league. Love all the details, guys. We always tell you this. The more detail you put, the easier it is for us to break down and figure out what's going on. So there it is. Trade away Tua and Watson to get Hurts.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
Because of the roster, or just you think it's too much?
I just think it's too much. I don't think Tua is more than good enough at quarterback. Tua is a guy you can just leave in your lineup every week and you don't have to think about it. He's got plenty of upside. Yeah, if it was super flex, maybe I would consider it. But even then, I might not. But this is 1 QB. Yeah, I'm just keeping Tua and Watson. Like this is like you're when I have Tua, I'm not thinking about trading for a QB upgrade.
Yeah, looking at your receiver depth, I think you still want to hold on to Watson. I think you're fine with what you have. And he's asking package Barkley and a receiver for Lamb.
You shouldn't have to package Barkley and a wide receiver for Lamb. Like those guys should be pretty similarly valued. So if you want to get rid of Barkley and get CeeDee Lamb, you should be able to do that. I think you should be able to do that straight up. Like you shouldn't also have to package a wide receiver.
I mean, you're trading away Barkley. I'm hoping you're really stacked at running back, though.
Right.
That's the thing.
Yes.
All right. Erico Mendonca de Mello. 6-0. Even better. Standard team, 12-man league. Got Purdy, Dak, Swift, Jones, Kamara, Chuba, Moss, Tyreek Hill, and Cup, and Ayuk, Dell, Johnston. Would you see something trade Ayuk and Kamara for JT and Kirk?
Yeah, I'm still doing this. I still like JT more than Kamara rest of the season. I think Kirk and Ayuk, I probably slightly prefer Ayuk, but I don't think it's going to be like a major gap between Ayuk and Kirk. Like Kirk should be very good most weeks. So yeah, I'm still going JT and Kirk.
The difference between Ayuk and Kirk isn't that big. It's not a big drop off. The difference between JT and Kamara is going to be bigger. I know right now it doesn't look like it, but yeah, I'd rather have the JT Kirk side. That's a good move. And then, Dak, Purdy. I guess you need Purdy this week. I don't know. I don't even know who to feel better about rest of the season. Probably Dak, but I don't know.
Yeah, Dak does have a very nice schedule coming up after the bye here. So, I mean, obviously you can't play him this week, so roll Purdy. But after that, I prefer Dak. But look, I'm these are two guys that I'm probably okay holding both of them to play matchups. Like I don't feel like I guess I haven't gotten full confidence in Dak yet to where I feel like, okay, like I can just roll Dak every week, even in tough matchups, and it'll be okay. So I might want to actually hold both these guys.
Yeah, there you go. All right, we got Callow Brody. Metcalf for Higgins.
Yeah, I still got to prefer Higgins. Look, Metcalf hasn't been great. I think he'll be great this week, but he hasn't been great. I still prefer Higgins. Look, coming out of the bye, he should be fully healthy. The offense is gonna be better second half. They almost have to be better second half. I still prefer Higgins and Metcalf.
Yeah, I think this is doable. It's close, but I would prefer Higgins from Metcalf too. So you're going to have the bye. Higgins should be 100%. Burrow's back. He's good now. So I'll prefer Higgins. Quinner. What is up, Quinn? See? There you go. Making a comeback just like last year.
Didn't this happen with Quinner last year too?
Yeah, last year he was like 0-8 or something like that. I don't remember. And then he eventually almost made the playoffs. But anyways.
This is like Quinter's like the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Right? Or like, remember when the Patriots with Tom Brady, remember they'd be like 2-4 or something, and everybody would be like, the dynasty's over. And then they'd win the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Or like the Steelers.
Quinter
I feel like they
knows.
do this every year.
Quinter knows. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter yet.
All right, any changes here? Half point PPR, 2 flex. Tempted to pick up Goff and trade Mahomes. Interesting. Okay, well, let's see. You got Mahomes, Watson, Cup, CMC, Brian Robinson, Waller, Rashawn Sutton, Palmer, Dodson, Jamal Williams. I hope on an IR spot. Spears, Ahmed, and Musgrave.
Actually, I did see Jamal's back at practice. I don't think they're going to activate him this week, but we could see him next week. But yeah, look, I'm 100%. Mahomes hasn't even been that good this year.
It's true. It's true. He doesn't have the receivers.
I'm 100%. I'm always okay trading a QB to upgrade another position, especially when you have a guy like Goff. Like if you could trade Mahomes, and I mean, you really need to. Oh, I see why you won the last 2 games, because you got Cooper Kupp back.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp coming back to save the day.
And Watson.
I'm just trying to figure out what you need more, but really it looks like you need both wide receiver and running back. Yeah. So, I mean, honestly, like you're good up top, right? You have Watson, Kupp, you have CMC, Brian Robinson. That's fine, but you don't really have a lot of depth behind them. So, yeah, if you could trade Mahomes and get back a startable running back or wide receiver, like a, low-end wide receiver 2, maybe a decent running back 2, I would definitely do that.
And not sure who is available on waivers there, but I think you might as well drop Dotson. I don't really think you need to hold Jamal Williams, even if he comes back to play, because Kamara's back. So you could take some shots on guys on the waiver wire. Just keep looking for some breakouts. Dave Brooks, half PPR, 10-man, T-Law, Barkley, Smith, Kirk, Ingram, Ramondre, Henry, Ridley, Watson, and Warren. Too many Jags. Well, fortunately, we're talking about Jaguars, not just Jags. But yeah, you do have a lot of Jaguars.
We're not talking about Jerry Judy's.
What would you do then? Who would you trade?
I mean, look, sometimes it's good when a lot of your team has the same bye week. Because let's say, okay, you say, oh my gosh, in week 9, like, half my team's going to be on bye. But let's say you roll into week 9 and you're like 7-2 or 6-3. And then you lose that week. But now you don't have to worry about bye weeks anymore. You know what I mean? Because it's like, hey, like half my team already had the bye. Where it's a lot harder when you have like a couple guys miss this week, then a couple guys miss, because then that's when you can go on like some losing streaks. So I'm not saying you should intentionally do that. I'm just saying it's not always a bad thing.
Yeah, that's not the worst thing. Yeah, but the Jags are a team that's somewhat volatile, I would say.
But look, I mean, you got Kirk and Ingram, so it's not like you have, you do have Ridley too.
Yeah, Ridley too.
And Trevor Lawrence. How come you didn't get Etienne? I'm just disappointed you don't have Etienne.
Yeah, I mean, he really does have a lot of Jags. So I wouldn't worry about it just for the bye week.
Right.
But, maybe just to differentiate a little bit.
Yeah, because it certainly increases your volatility if you have all the same offense, because, yeah, it's great when that offense, goes crazy, but it's bad when the offense is bad. So
you got some good players. It's 10-man, yeah, but you got at least Barkley, Henry, Smith. Yeah, I mean, you do have some volatility in your lineup.
I mean, look, I'm gonna say this is a week to try to trade Ramondre Stevenson.
True.
I know he's not a Jaguar, but maybe you could package him with like Christian Kirk or Evan Ingram if you're okay at tight end or whatever. Because Ramondre just had a nice game. He still has name value. People drafted him highly, but it was the Raiders. I think this is a good time to try to trade Ramondre. So if you could package Ramondre in one of those Jaguars, I guess.
Yep. I don't mind that. All right, Dave. Hopefully that helps. And the Demon Slayer is back.
What's up?
3-3. Another 10-team half PPR league. Got Herbert, got Ramondre, Checo, Holly, Cooper Waddle. One flex CD Chase on a bye. Yeah, that hurts. Okay, so you got Kirk on the bench. Not a bad choice. White, Pickens, Rice, Rashawn. Empty spot. Try to move off of CD and Mondre. I mean, I don't know. This is not time to. You don't feel like you want to move off of CD.
Yeah, CD looked great, and now they have a great schedule coming up. But I think you should be able to turn CD and Mondre into somebody pretty decent. I'm actually kind of surprised CD and Ramondre didn't get you Bijan, but people value Bijan differently. Trying to think of some running backs
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to
maybe
be
JT?
starting Ramondre or Pacheco if it's a 10-team league.
Yeah. I was going to say JT, but that's too much for
like CD and Ramondre for JT straight up.
That feels like too much for JT.
Seems like you could get more.
Yeah, it feels like too much for JT. Maybe Barkley. But even then, I feel like it should just be like CD for Barkley straight up.
Yeah. Well, would you do that?
I would do CD for Barkley straight up if I needed running back. Yes, I think that's very fair.
All right. So you could do that. He said try to get Bijan, but it was rejected. That's fine. Go look somewhere else. I'm sure somebody will make a deal with you. But yeah, I do. If I'm you, I do want to upgrade at running back for sure. Yeah. Dave is here with a different one. Who would you give up for Achane or for Mostert? And
well, I mean, Mostert's going to be tough right now because he's playing and he's playing well. So whoever has Mostert is going to be hard pressed to part with Mostert right now. Achane, there's still the possibility, but every week that goes by, it's going to get harder and harder to trade for Achane because he's going to get closer and closer to coming back.
It's not a good time to trade for Mostert.
No.
I mean, I almost don't want to just on principle because you're buying high as possible. Maybe not.
Yeah, you're buying at the peak for sure. You're buying at the peak.
So I think the question really is not who would I give up, is what would you need to give up? So I think Achane makes more sense because you could buy low right now. But
yes. Like, would you give up CD Lamb for Achane?
CD Lamb for Achane? No.
Yeah.
Or Mostert, honestly.
No. Would you give up? Who would be next? Like around that range? I'm trying to think. Would you give up AJ Brown for Achane?
Not right now. There's no way. I don't want to trade for a volatile running back, and that's what they are. These guys are risky to some extent.
Would you give up Olave for Achane?
Maybe.
Okay, so there's your range.
Maybe
there's your range. Olave, Jalen Waddle.
No, and even now, like maybe not Olave. Maybe it would be like a T Higgins.
Okay.
Make kind of the same range, I guess. That's as high as I would go. All right, but let's get to the next one. It is Mac P. Full PPR, would you trade Addison and Waller to get Laporta? Addison and Waller.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm guessing Addison is like your wide receiver 4 or 5 because that's kind of where he was drafted. Waller just not cutting it. At least with Laporta, you have that peace of mind where you don't ever have to think about tight end, which is such a good feeling. So I think I do it.
Yeah, I think this is fine because to me, Waller's like whatever. So if you don't need Addison as like your number 3 receiver because you're down bad or something, it's doable. All right, we are catching up on the super chat. So guys, if you did drop one anytime in the last half hour, patience. We are getting to you. Trust me, we're just playing catch up. So it is a good time to remind you, since we're kind of halfway through this show, that if you haven't tried Underdog, first of all, just why? What are you waiting for? I don't understand. If you sign up to Underdog right now and you use promo code Endgame, immediately you're going to get money back because they're going to match whatever you put in for your deposit 100% all the way up to $500. You don't need to put that much in. You can put 20, 30, 50, whatever you want to start out, but whatever you put in when you first sign up, they'll match it. So you double your money there, and then you get that special for new users, and that is Derek Carr getting over 0.5 of a total yard this Thursday. Just 1 yard, and you get that pick, and you can combine it with any other pick and triple your money. Or you can go all the way up to 5 picks and get maybe 20 times your money, or it could even be more because they have all these boosters. There are always all sorts of specials. So not only a good chance to win money, but it's also pretty fun. And then everybody, old or new, can use the Marquise Brown higher lower pick, and that's part of 100K Sunday. So this week for week 7, again, they're still giving away $100,000, but it's back to $100 for 1,000 different people. That's right, 1,000 winners for this contest. So just take that pick, and you're automatically entered for a chance to win $100 just for making a pick. That could also win you money. So I think it makes some good fiscal sense to me.
Yes.
There you go. Just make sure you use promo code Endgame to take advantage of all of those things. All right, then we got Senor Royland. Traded away Puka. Oh, we got a Dynasty trade to get Swift and a second. Do you like this?
I don't know. I don't hate it. I'll say that. I don't hate it.
I mean, the long pause makes me think you don't love it.
Well, I don't like trading for running backs like Swift.
Oh, I know. In Dynasty, especially what if he has a great season, great, gets the bag, and then what?
Exactly. Like I don't exactly. Man. But there's certainly long-term concerns with Puka. Like we don't know how long Stafford's going to be around. We don't know how long Sean McVay is going to be around. Like Puka is not some generational talent at wide receiver that can overcome poor QB play and coaching. So,
I mean, I like at least you got the second to offset it a little bit. You know, you needed that. I think if you're a team that needed a running back and wants to win this year, then I would say, okay, it's fine to get Swift. If you're just thinking long term here, better value, I think I'm still gonna have to lean towards the young receiver though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it because you got Swift and he can help you this year, right? He can help you win this year,
right?
And you did get the second, so I don't think it's like terrible. But yeah, it's not a big fan of trading for running backs like Swift.
Right. I agree, but I don't think it's bad either. Joel Del Rio, would you give Henry Stevenson and Pitts for Etienne, Olave, and Ingram? Someone else wants a Jag stag.
Let's see. I prefer Etienne over Henry. I prefer Olave over Stevenson. I might prefer Pitts over Ingram, but it's pretty close. So, yeah. Give me the Etienne side by quite a bit here. Quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm going to take that Etienne side over the other side for sure. So, this is a win for you. Go out and do that. Make that trade as soon as we're done here. We need another defense question. Brandman, which defense? Lions, Raiders, Browns, Saints, or Bucks? I mean, I don't think we really need to look at the matchups for this one.
Yeah, it's Browns. Browns number one. Browns might be the number one defense this week.
Just period.
Yeah, just period. Who does San Francisco play? Minnesota? I still might take the Browns against Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, Browns easily this week. Maybe just rest of the season. Roll with the Browns. I don't think you're ever going to regret it. Mary Jo is back. Was offered Brees Hall for Bijan. Countered with Brian Robinson and Ingram for Brees Hall. That was a smart move. Was denied though. I don't think that's a bad offer.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad. But it's probably a little low, but I mean, look, Brees Hall for Bijan is low too. So
Exactly. Lower. And maybe, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Can't remember who else you got. I remember she's in an 18 league. That's the problem. Brian Robinson isn't really a guy you're going to start in an 18 league right now. So it's just not enough, probably. So I don't think you were like lowballing or anything, but I get why she denied it.
yeah.
Vinny, what's up, Vinny? Have Stevenson. Would you trade Olave? For him? But you said you have Stevenson.
If you're getting Olave, yes, I would trade Stevenson for Olave in a heartbeat right now.
Yeah, if you're getting Olave, do this.
Yeah.
Jake Holgate has Sanders, Higgins, Stevenson. What do you do with these guys? I mean, you kind of have to hold Higgins.
Yeah, Sanders, you kind of just have to hold because you can't really trade him. Higgins, I definitely hold because, again, he doesn't have any trade value. Stevenson, I trade. Stevenson, I'm looking to trade right now. Not that I think Stevenson will be like a complete bust the rest of the year, but this might be your only chance to potentially get something back for him. I still have major trust issues with this offense. So I think this is a good time to try to sell high on Stevenson if you can.
Right. Holding Higgins, trading Stevenson. Sanders, I doubt you could trade him. So you're just going to have to hold for now. And then Daniel, yeah, I'm glad you remember too. So he got another one, 12 team, full PPR, super flex. Yeah, Jacobs and Foreman. All right. He got HN and Wilson. He got the whole Dolphins running back stash there. Okay, so 14% of your that's way too much to use on Zach Evans anyways, isn't it?
Yes.
Too much.
Way too much.
I would say you could use 14% if you really, 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 really are desperate at running back and you still had like 70% left. But
Right.
nah, you don't need to do that. All right, let's go to John Caraballo. Welcome back, John. Trade Pierce, Ridley, and T-Law for Mostert and Stroud.
Man, this again comes down to your belief in Mostert.
Yeah, as I say, it feels like a little bit of an overpay for Mostert, even though Pierce is kind of just whatever these days. I mean, I don't know. Ridley, T-Law, basically Mostert and Stroud. It's not terrible, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like if you need the running back help right now, then I guess it's okay. But yeah, it does feel like a bit of an overpay. But look, Ridley hasn't been, he's been very volatile. So I think it's okay.
I mean, look, if you've been starting Pierce as your RB2, yeah, maybe it is okay because you definitely need an upgrade. Pierce not playing this week. Mostert, I don't feel like Jeff Wilson's going to come back and just like derail the Mostert train. So it's okay in that case. Yeah. And speaking of T-Law, though, Mateo Feo says, somebody drop T-Law. I have Russ as my quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna
don't start Russ. Don't start Russ.
I mean,
especially this week against the Packers, it's not a good matchup. Don't start Russ.
Yeah. Now, even if you let's say you pick up Lawrence and they're like, that knee, we're just going to not risk it. He's going to sit. I still do this. And then you could just stream somebody like whoever for this week, but you can't roll with Russ as your quarterback.
No.
Sir Boomer lost 3 of 4 on a downslide. Don't worry, you'll turn it around now. I have a feeling. Got 2 of Bijan, Ingram. Devontae Adams, Devontae Smith, Pitts and Puka on the bench are those guys. Would you go with Musgrave? Not over Pitts. No.
No, I'm still going Pitts.
Pick up one of these running backs, of course. We got the usual suspects
Yeah.
over anybody here. I mean, look, if you're starting Pitts, then you could probably just drop Musgrave.
Yeah, you can drop Musgrave. You can drop Keontae Ingram. You don't need Keontae Ingram.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would
drop
rather
those
start
guys.
Mason or
Yeah,
Reynolds
drop
or
those
Evans
guys.
over
Drop a
Ingram.
couple of the running backs.
I would rather start any of those, not Hunt, but I'd rather start any of those other 3 running backs than Ingram.
Yes. Yes. I might even want to start Hunt over Ingram. That Cardinals backfield looked so bad, and Ingram is so bad.
Yeah. What about, I'm just going to throw this out there. You got Hubbard, but of course, Hubbard's on bye this week. Would you drop Hubbard to pick up another one of these running backs?
No, because we don't know if Sanders is going to be back next week. I don't want to drop Hubbard right now. I'm still holding on to Hubbard.
Yeah, it looks like he's got Hubbard and Sanders. So hopefully get some clarity there. You don't have both of them clogging up your bench. Yeah, you can drop Musgrave and you can drop Ingram. Teagan, trade Najee for Sanders. This feels like a lose-lose.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it does feel like a lose-lose.
Nobody's getting what they want.
This is like, here's my bowl of broccoli. I'll trade it for your bowl of Brussels sprouts. Like, there's no winners here. I just offended everybody who likes broccoli and or Brussels sprouts.
I actually kind of like Brussels sprouts these days.
See, there we go. There's a small percentage of weird people who like Brussels sprouts.
Does it matter? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know if it even matters. Sure, go for it.
Yeah.
I don't think it really matters, honestly.
Swing for the fences. Sal Palumbo, how do we feel about trading Lockett and Rashad White for Sanders and Higgins? Is Sanders like a buy low now? I don't know.
Why is everybody trading for Sanders? But, I will say, I don't know if there's a big difference between Rashad White and Miles Sanders going forward.
True.
I'll still take Higgins over Lockett. So just give me the Sanders and the Higgins side, just for the Higgins part. Just for the Higgins part.
Yeah, I was going to say I do this just for Higgins, and the running backs are just like whatever. Money Main again. All right, open waivers you can pick up during games. So everything's gone. So this is not a good thing, apparently. But now I know who I can drop if something happens. That's interesting.
Yeah. You gotta be when you have these, this is how my home league used to be. You just gotta be ready. That report comes through that Christian McCaffrey's got an oblique injury. You just gotta be off to the waiver wire, ready to go. It's wild, wild west.
Yeah. My old home league used to have it like that just because it was very casual, meaning half the people didn't really pay attention. And so people would complain because they go, pick somebody up like, hey, you picked them all up during the game. I was like, well, yeah, why wouldn't I? It's like, but that's not fair. I was like, well, we could change the rules, but this favors people who pay attention and are involved. So I should be rewarded because I'm the one who's watching the games, watching the reports.
Yeah. That's why they changed it in our home league too. Cause they're like,
yeah,
okay.
I get it. Like not everybody's sitting there by the computer waiting or,
right.
watching all Sunday. Some people have,
not everybody's degenerates like us.
Yeah. I guess some people have like social lives or something.
Right. You mean you actually go outside on a Sunday?
Yeah. It's like, you realize there's football on. Steven 3V, pick up Mason or Rashawn.
I'm going Rashawn. I think I might even like Rashawn a little bit better this week anyways, but regardless of that, I'm going Rashawn because I like him better long-term than Mason. Like Rashawn has a chance, even when Herbert comes back, to eventually carve out a bigger role and maybe even take over this backfield, become the 1A. Jordan Mason is, I don't think, I'm going to go out on a limb and say Jordan Mason is never going to be the 1A to Christian McCaffrey's 1B. So I'm going Rashawn.
Yeah, I think Rashawn is going to be the starter this week, and he could just be the starter the rest of the season. So you've got to like that. Yeah, I think just go Rashawn and you'll be okay. I don't love Rashawn this week or anything, but I think he has at least got the most long-term potential. And then he's got a follow-up here with the Cowboys on bye. Is Washington a good defense?
Washington versus
Giants, I think.
Oh yeah. And just drop the Cowboys. How many points did the Cowboys get last night? Were they any good?
Nothing special. I mean, Herbert threw that pick at the end of the game. That's just because it was fourth down. He forced it. It's not like they were
got
stacking him
4.
like crazy.
No, they got 4 fantasy points. You can just look the last 2 of the last 3 games. No, sorry, 3 of the last 4 games they got 1, 0, and 4. You can drop Dallas.
There you go. Yep, pick up Washington. What about this Washington related question? Whoa. Somebody dropped Scary Terry after he actually had his best game of the season or close to it.
I mean, my gut instinct is just to say all of it. But at the same time, it's like, maybe that's a little bit. I mean, are you ever going to see somebody better than Terry McLaurin on the waiver wire? Is there going to be a better waiver wire pickup than Terry McLaurin?
At least he's solid, right? I mean, I don't know that I would dump all of it because he's not, I think I would be more excited if somebody else said Christian Watson was on the waivers. Okay, I would dump off for Christian Watson because he has this massive ceiling.
True.
Terry doesn't have that this year, but still, I think you can go 80, 85%.
Yeah, definitely.
But this is also, I'm assuming, 12-team league. This is an 8-team league. I'm like, no, okay, maybe half.
Yeah, that's true. If it's a very, very, very shallow league, then yeah.
Joker with a new avatar going old school. You see that?
I got the Jack Nicholson Joker.
The classic Joker. All right, so feeling good. Accepted a trade this morning. Got Pollard and Watson for Jacoby and Ford.
Yeah, no wonder why you changed your Joker icon. You're feeling good right now. That's a great trade for you. It's a great trade.
So people are dropping Watson, trading Watson for nothing. All right, well done.
Very well done.
All right, let's go to the next one. Meanwhile, read some kind words from Julio. Thank you. What was that? Was that on Discord? I don't remember.
No, that was. Are you just now watching the? You just now watching the panic video? That was in the panic video because I did an introduction where I kind of teased what I was going to talk about, and then I said something to the effect of and just when we thought it couldn't get worse than the week 5 injuries, week 6 said hold my beer or something like that.
Oh yeah, there you go. All right, yeah, that was because he said today's, and I was okay. Let's go to Ahmad, another member. Got Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Lockett, Jacobs, JT, and Kelsey. And then Hollywood Flex, Ridley on the bench, Cook, Hiron, Pittman, Stevenson. Changes?
I mean, nice team. When Ramondre Stevenson is your worst player, that's pretty good. AJ Brown.
Well, you're not feeling Hollywood this week, are you? Would you swap him out for probably Ridley or Pittman?
I'm not really feeling those guys either. But I might still start Ridley. Yeah. I might still go Ridley over him. I'm not really feeling Ridley that much this week, though, to be honest.
Yeah, it's close between these guys. I'm worried about Pittman for sure. I don't want to put Pittman in there.
I'm not feeling Pittman at all. I know he's coming off that huge game, but against Cleveland?
Yeah, exactly. I can't. It's either between Ridley or Hollywood. That's the only one. I think I keep Hollywood because I'm not too scared of the Seattle defense. I don't know. Ridley's one of these guys that's so hard to gauge, but I don't love his matchup either. All right.
Yeah, it's close. It's close between those guys for sure.
Yeah, I think for now you can just kind of keep it the way you have it. Here's an interesting one. Pull this up before we get to the next super chat. Joel Quevedo, 510. Brian Robinson for Achane.
Give me Achan. Definitely give me Achan. I'll wait for Achan here. I'd like Brian Robinson isn't enough to like he's fine. He's good as an RB2 or whatever. He's solid, but I'll wait for Achan to come back.
Yeah. Like you said, Robinson's solid. He's not going to carry your team to the championship. Achan, when he comes back, he could carry your team, as we've seen. So, yeah, I would do this to get Achan. Russell Koenig's, what is up? Sent a trade before the weekend, thinking it would go away, and he just accepted. I love that, the delayed trade. I guess he was waiting to see what would happen. Now he's trying to see if he should stop it. Got Shaheed, Ramondre, Brian Robinson, Judy for Pollard, Jacoby.
Yeah, this is a lesson here. Always cancel your trades before the game start. In case you have that owner who, you say, hey, give me Tony Pollard, and then Tony Pollard tears his ACL and he says, okay. Accept. And I've seen it happen.
True.
So always cancel your trades before the games. Let's see. I mean, I don't know which side you're getting. If you got Pollard and Jacoby, I would let it go through.
Yeah, I'd be happy for it if I got Pollard, Jacoby.
Yeah, if you got Ramondre and Brian, first of all, I gotta hope, Russell. I don't know if you've ever asked us a question before. I don't know if you've been on here before. If you have, my apologies for not remembering. I have a very bad memory. Ask my wife.
I think you did on the weekend. I kind of remember this. I don't remember the exact trade, but I think I remember him talking about this trade.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to hope you are getting Pollard and Jacoby, because I don't think we would have told you to trade for Shaheed, Ramondre, Brian Robinson, and Judy. In fact, I know we would not have told you to trade for any trade with Jerry Jeudy in it.
Exactly.
So we had to. So if you're getting Pollard and Jacoby, just let it go through. You should feel great.
Yeah. I don't know why you would stop it. I mean, what are you giving up here?
I mean, look, because Ramondre finally had a good game. Shaheed had a good game. Robinson scored. But look, those things happen. Those aren't things you can count on week in and week out. You can count on Pollard and Jacoby pretty much week in and week out.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're getting Pollard, Jacoby, be happy.
Yes.
If you're getting Jerry Jeudy, then maybe not.
Yeah.
Sammy, who is my quarterback this week? Cousins, Ritter, or Lawrence?
I think I'm still going Lawrence if he plays. I don't love Cousins this week against 49ers. That passing attack looked way different without Justin Jefferson. And Ritter, yeah, on the road against Tampa Bay, no thanks. So I'm still going Lawrence. Obviously, if Lawrence doesn't play, then I'll go Cousins.
Yeah, it's definitely Lawrence. I think he's going to play, but of course, be prepared. And do make sure if you have him in your lineup, make sure you're watching before Thursday, the news and pull him out, and then just go Cousins and take what you get. Ahmad T of the different league here, you got Josh Allen, Devontae Adams, St. Brown, Mostert, Walker, Laporta, and then Waddle. That's a good lineup. Etienne on the bench. I mean,
man,
maybe. Okay, Ingram, Osborne, Myers, Godwin, Waller. Okay, so Etienne, we got Walker, and we got Mostert because the Dolphins play the Eagles. The Seahawks play with the Cardinals. Etienne is going to go against the Saints. So I guess I get it. Are you benching Etienne, though?
Yeah, I'm debating Waddle and Etienne. That's what I'm debating at the flex.
Well, that's true. I guess you could just flex them. It's PPR.
It's hard to bench Kenneth Walker this week against Arizona. I mean, look at what Kyron Williams just did to them.
Let me throw this out there. Devontae Adams with a backup quarterback. Do you bench him? Because it's probably Brian Hoyer.
Yeah, it's hard for me to bench Devontae Adams. Man, what a tough choice.
And then I would say keep Laporta over Ingram. That's yes.
Yeah, Laporta for me is like a must.
I mean, you like Godwin. You like Godwin over these guys?
No, I mean I do like Common, but no, not over these guys. I'm not even looking at the right. It's basically just how can I get Etienne in this lineup?
Right. I know it's the Eagles, but I don't think you can bench Mostert with the way he's been running, with the touches
No,
he's getting. I think you have to keep Mostert in there. Walker, I mean, we finally put him in the must start too, but of course Etienne is also in the must start. Waddle isn't, but this is a flex and this is a PPR league. That's what makes this tough.
yeah,
If it's me, I think the Saints do have a pretty good defense. It's on the road. Maybe just keep it the way it is.
yeah. I mean I don't think the way you have it. Like, look, you have a lot of good choices here. It's not like, yeah. If this is what your gut told you to do it because it's not bad. It's certainly not bad.
Yeah, just keep it the way it is. I mean, go with your gut instinct. Royland is deciding between Ridley or Ayuk. I mean, I don't think it matters about Lawrence. I'm going Ayuk.
I'm going Ayuk this week. Yeah, I like Ayuk.
Third league for Ahmad. All right, man after my own heart. He's got Lamar, Waddle, St. Brown, CMC, Barkley, Ingram, and then Jacoby at the flex. On the bench is Tua, Cook, Pittman, Kyron, and Ertz. Any changes here?
I don't think so. Is there anybody do I put James Cook in over Myers? I'm definitely nervous about Myers.
Yeah, Myers is a guy you can kind of worry about with the backup quarterback. James Cook, the question is ceiling. Like, what is Cook's ceiling when he
Right.
gets pulled at the goal line and he's really not catching passes?
That was a disappointing thing on Sunday night was he didn't get a single target. Pretty much the only person that got targets was Stephon Diggs in that game.
Yeah. Yeah, once again, I think I'm just keeping it the way it is.
Yeah, it's PPR, so yeah, just keep Myers. But yeah, that's the only thing I'd even be deciding.
Chief Perp is back in the house. So you go Rashawn or Evans?
I think right now in this instant, I go Evans. Just because I feel fairly good that he will get first crack. He'll be the guy. And Sean McVay is not a committee guy. He just isn't. Like the owner literally had to tell Sean McVay to start giving Ronnie Rivers some touches. Like, hey, dude, you can't give Kyron Williams 100% of the touches. He's going to die. And then McVay was like,
what?
okay, fine. Like
Guess
McVay is
what
not
happened?
a committee guy, right? He's not a committee guy. He just isn't. Just put one running back out there. And if he breaks or isn't getting it done, then we'll put a different running back out there, right? That's his kind of thing. So, but we'll have to see how practice plays out. But if you ask me right now, I'm going to go Evans. If we're just talking about start sit, by the way, if we're talking about pickup off waiver wire, I'm going Rashawn because I like him better rest of the season.
Well, yeah, it depends. Do you need someone for this week or you're just talking about waiver wire? I kind of looked at it as a waiver wire question, like who would you rather have?
Well,
I mean, if you're desperate and need a streamer, I guess you go Evans because of the volume. But yeah, I agree. Evans is the really risky pick. Rashawn is pretty solid. Blair Davis, welcome back, Blair. Would you trade Stevenson and Downs for JT?
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. This is how you sell high on Stevenson and I guess Downs because he scored a touchdown. Yeah. And buy low on JT. Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Easily do this. All right. We got another one from Chief Perp. Watson or Ridley?
I'm going Watson. Again, I'm not feeling a big Ridley game this week. Of course, this will probably be the week where he somehow goes off because who knows? Like Ridley has been a tough one to figure out this year, to be honest. Like there's games where it feels like he should have a big game and he does nothing. And there's weeks where it's like, oh look, Calvin Ridley having a huge game. But man, Watson is such a good spot this week against the Broncos. I got to go with Watson.
Go with Watson. Feeling a big week. Yeah, definitely Watson here. I mean, look at the difference in matchup. Saints, tough pass defense. Broncos, I mean, the Broncos. I'm calling Watson. Rahul did. I'm going to put this up first, even though I commented last. So this is a half PPR, 3 receiver, 2 running back, and a flex league. It's a 10-team league. He went 0 RB. So he's got Hill, Amon-Ra, Thielen, Jacoby, Devontae, and Kupp. Looking to upgrade it at RB. Yeah, no Monty. Well, Ramondre doesn't suck as much, but I know you don't want him as your RB1. So who would you move? I mean,
I'm going to answer Thielen.
I know you're going to say Thielen.
But it's not just because of long-term concerns. It's also because his value is sky high right now. Look, remember, and look, I'm not saying Puka. Like, I still think Puka will be very good this year, but I'm using Puka as the example because there was a time when Puka's value was so high you could have traded Puka straight up for Jamar Chase.
Yep,
like no doubt about it. You could have traded him straight up for Jamar Chase. But people did not want to part with the here and like the right now, right? But the Puka right now. I get it. You're like, I don't want to part with the Thielen right now. I get it. But if you could trade Thielen and get a high-end running back because people are valuing Thielen that highly, you got to do it. And that's look, he's a top 10 wide receiver right now. He's been incredible since week 1. He's got name value. That's the other nice thing. He's not an out of nowhere guy like Puka Nacua. He's Adam Thielen. People love guys who used to be great. Like it's why Michael Thomas always gets drafted. It's why Leonard Fournette and Julio Jones are trending. Like people love these guys. They love these guys.
Sad but true.
Trade Thielen.
It's got to be Thielen. I mean, there's almost literally no way he can get better than he is now in terms of value. He's the number 3 wide receiver in PPR scoring. Number 3. Only Tyreek Hill and Stephon Diggs are ahead of him.
Cooper Kupp year?
Well, Cooper Kupp's going to catch him pretty quick, but still, Thielen and Jamar Chase too. But right now, again, I don't think he'll ever catch Tyreek Hill, and I don't think he'll catch Diggs. He's going to continue to drop. There's no way for Thielen's value to get higher. Right? It's not possible. This is when you have to trade him and get a stud running back. So, yeah, it's got to be Thielen. And then I'm not trading Hill or Kupp for anything. I don't care what I need at running back. Don't trade those guys, period, no matter what.
I mean, look, package Thielen and Ramondre, who now has some value again, and try to get like an Etienne, a Kenneth Walker, a Barkley, maybe a Bijan if the person's worried, somebody like that.
I was gonna say you can go higher than that right now. You can probably get Bijan. Go get Bijan. All right, and then we got Boba Jet, aka Pedro. Can only roster one defense. That's a good thing. My choices are San Francisco or Pittsburgh. Rest of the season.
I mean, San Francisco. I do have a painful Steelers DST story that I told Pierre last night, but somehow lost because they got 21 points against the Ravens. Who's starting the Steelers against the Ravens? And who's starting the Steelers anyways? It's San Francisco. San Francisco.
That's funny. You remember this is it's San Francisco. I mean, this week San Francisco with the Vikings. Yeah, it's San Francisco. Is this true? Oh wait, not that. Sean saying all Monganos have bad memories. Is that true?
Probably. It's probably true. Yeah, it's probably true. I can't remember if it's true or not, but it probably is.
Yeah, you're the wrong person to ask. All right, Mikey S. It'd be a good week to wait after waivers if you have a bad spot. People will drop guys to fill their lineups. If you can, this is the week to do it and wait.
I mean, it's always a good idea to check transactions after they run and see who is dropped. You'll be surprised. I mean, look, we've had people say like, so-and-so is on the waiver. Christian Watson's on the waiver wire. Terry McLaurin's on the waiver wire. It's always a good idea to check your transactions afterwards, for sure. For sure.
And with so many teams on bye, that's exactly right. When this is a heavy week like this and there's injuries, some people just have to do it. I mean, they don't want to drop a guy, but they're like, oh, look, this is the worst guy I have. I have to pick up, for a kicker or a defense, or I need a quarterback to stream, but they don't want to drop their quarterback. Sometimes they have to drop a player that's good. So that's a very good point. You always need to check to see who's out there. And this is why I specifically mentioned guys on the waiver wire video that really shouldn't be out there, but they are out there that are dropped. And I didn't even mention Christian Watson. Apparently, Christian Watson's getting dropped. I mean,
Yeah. Why didn't you put Christian Watson on the waiver wire video, Pierre?
Should have known. Should have known. CD Lamb. No. All right. Austin. Thank you, Austin. Let me see. Where is the question for Austin? Gonna look for it. Maybe it's before. Maybe not. Maybe it's after. All right, Austin, we'll find your question. In the meantime, let's move to the next one. It's probably right in front of me. Just can't see it. Brian F, although I don't think this is our Brian because he has a different thing. Should I look to trade Devontae Smith?
Well, in a vacuum, I'm going to say stay put. He's still getting the targets. We know he's a great player. We know this offense is a great offense. It'll get better. But I'm going to say what I always say. If you could trade him and get somebody really good back, do it. The problem is you're probably not going to get somebody really good back right now because he hasn't been that good. So,
right.
Chances are you probably should stay put.
Yeah, this is not the time. Look, the time to trade away players after they have done something good. This is not the time to trade. Typically, this is not the time to trade Devontae Smith. So, if anything, he should be a buy low right now. But just stay put. Like if you're asking, should he be worried about Devontae Smith? We already answered the. What do we put him? Like a 4 out of 10.
Yeah, put the panic level at 4.
Yeah. So nah, I wouldn't do that. Yes, this is true. Silence with the facts. He has been a low-end wide receiver 3 for the past 4 weeks. But what happened the week before that? He had a monster week. What happened all last season? He had a monster season. So he'll be fine. I think he'll be fine. And then another one from Brian F. So got Josh Allen, Bijan, Aaron Jones, Devontae, Waddle, Waller, and guys like Jacoby, McLaurin, Downs, and Rice. Suggestions here.
Well, yeah. See, you have a lot of guys. Like you have a good team outside of Darren Waller. But you either have guys who are kind of like underperforming recently, like Bijan, Devonta Smith, or you have a guy like Aaron Jones who's coming back from injury. Like you don't really have a lot of guys that are at good sells right now. Like Waddle might be your only good sell, but you don't really want to trade Waddle. So I mean, you have guys like Downs and Rice, but what are you really going to get back for Downs and Rice? You're going to get like RB3 or something. So this isn't really the time to be making a move. You have you have a good team. You have good players. Like I wouldn't be like panic trading any of these guys, especially because you're going to be panic trading them low. Right. So I feel like you have a good team. This team should come around. And look, if Aaron Jones plays this week, it's the Broncos. Like he could have a huge game. So yeah.
Yeah, right now is not the time to make moves here. I do feel like you don't have that one guy who could just like carry your team. Like you don't have like a Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase type of player. But you do have weekly upside. Hold tight for sure on Bijan. Aaron Jones is the one guy. Like you said, maybe after this week, assuming he plays, that he has a big game, and then maybe you can combine him with a receiver, a bench receiver, I should say, and upgrade at running back. But right now, you might just want to kind of stand pat. All right, I did find Austin's question. And
okay.
By the way, and Sean wanted to ask if you had wished, because speaking of your memory, if you wished Bria a happy birthday.
I did not. See,
there you go. You knew it. Don't forget after we get off the show. All right. Pollard is out. Yeah. Waiver and Wilson, Mason, Mitchell, Aaron Jones is on waivers.
Well, you got to add Aaron Jones.
There you go. See, this is what happens. The teamers on bye, and they're like, well, this guy's no use to me this week. Let me just drop him.
Are we willing to? I don't know if this is a fab league or not, but are we willing to drop all fab for Aaron Jones?
I think is worth it. Yeah. I mean, he's a running back who, when he's playing and good, he's startable every week. Why not? 95% of what you got left.
Yeah, definitely.
See, another perfect example. Perfect example. Oh man, always check, guys. Always check the waiver wire, see who is out there. I just don't know. Ahmad is back. Traded Stevenson for Watson. That's a win. Would you flex Watson instead of Hollywood this week? Definitely.
Yes, definitely Watson. He's in a great spot this week.
And see how quickly things change. A week ago, nobody wanted Ramondre. We're like, we actually had questions like, how can I get rid of him? Just get him off my team. Like, what do I do to get rid of Stevenson? And now it's like getting Watson, getting guys
That's
like
what I'm saying. This is a great week to try to trade Ramondre Stevenson. Even though I still like him long term, you got to take advantage when a guy does this. You got to take advantage of it. Don't trade him for nothing, but if you can get like a wide receiver like Watson, I mean, do it.
Now, what do you think about this? Would you drop another big name, Joe Mixon, for Rashawn, or keep the old man?
I think you got to still keep the old man. I think you still got to keep the old man. There's got to be somebody like if Mixon is legit your worst player, which he hasn't been great, then you probably don't need Rashawn.
This is true. Like I will say, Mixon is still a guy who, because of name value, not because of what he's done this year necessarily, but he is in a good team and got a good situation. You should be able to trade Mixon. He's got some value. So get something for him, and then you can pick up Rashawn probably. You should be able to trade Mixon to get at least a usable player. Unless maybe it's a super shallow league. But again, if it's a super shallow league, like an 18 league, you shouldn't be starting Rashawn Johnson.
Sure.
Let's see. South Sea. Would you trade Ridley and Madison or maybe a Puka to try to get Eckler? Sure. Or either Etienne. I mean, yeah, if you could do that, would you do? I mean, I'm sure you would. Even if it was Puka and Madison to get Eckler or Etienne.
Yeah, I'd still do it. I would still do it. I mean, it's such an upgrade at running back. I mean, I would prefer Ridley and Madison, of course, but even Puka and Madison, I would do it. And I would, of course, prefer Eckler. I know he had a bad game last night, but I mean, everybody has bad games.
Yeah.
I mean, apparently they don't, because when somebody has a bad game, it's like, do I drop this guy now?
Yeah.
Do I trade away player X because he had a bad game?
Yeah. Well, somebody's going to go out and drop Austin Eckler. Guy's a bum.
Oh, man.
Witsy, this one's interesting. Would you trade away Amon-Ra for Bijan?
I think it's very fair. I think it comes down to team need. Certainly in a vacuum, you want to prefer the running back. But if you're like, hey, maybe Bijan fell to the second round in your draft. You got CMC, you got Bijan. Maybe you drafted Etienne a little bit later. Maybe you got Mostert. I don't know. Maybe whatever, right? Maybe you got Kenneth Walker a little bit later. You're like, I'm just stacked at running back. I don't have any wide receivers. Then I think getting them on is fair. But I think in a vacuum, I prefer Bijan.
Yeah, I think it's pretty fair. Yep. High-end running back, high-end receiver. It's just what do you need? What's going to help your team more? So, sure, I don't want to trade away Amon-Ra, but if I'm getting Bijan, I'm okay with it. This one, interesting. Aiden Ahern. What's up, Aiden? Traded JT for Saquon. You think that's a win? It's pretty equal.
Yeah, pretty equal. I mean, I'm just going to go back to the psychology I talked about earlier. So you're worried JT might go off, and Saquon is inconsistent. But JT hasn't even played 50% of the snaps yet, whereas Saquon just got elite usage. But this is the psychology of like, I just traded JT for Saquon. Now all of a sudden, Saquon, like you're terrified about Saquon and you feel great about JT. Just going into the psychology of like how we feel about the players when they're on our team versus other people's teams.
Exactly. The
Like
guy you have is always the one that looks worse in your mind.
Right, because there's nothing that should make you feel great about JT so far. Like he's been outproduced by Zach Moss 2 weeks in a row. I think in the end, you're gonna look back on this and unless one guy gets hurt or like, one guy just goes nuts, right? Just dominates fantasy from here on out. You're probably gonna look back on this and just say, didn't really impact me either way.
Yeah, they're both going to be good. They should be fine. If it's somebody that gets hurt,
right.
Nothing you can do about that. You couldn't have predicted that. Now, this one, I think I prefer. Luke Ormsby traded D-Hop to get Devontae Smith.
This is a win. I mean, I get people being like, "Oh, Devonta Smith hasn't been great," but what has DeAndre Hopkins been this year? He had one good game against the Colts. That's it.
Yeah.
And now he might be playing with Malik Willis.
Oh, that's right. I actually forgot. Ryan Tannehill's hurt too, isn't he?
Yeah, high ankle sprain. He might be playing with Malik Willis for a few weeks. Good luck with that.
Yeah. Well, they're not even playing this week, so.
Well, yeah, at least this week you don't have to worry about it. But yeah, this should be a win for you, definitely.
Yeah, I didn't even think because they're not playing. We didn't talk about Titans because they're on the bye, but yeah, exactly. This is a win anyways. Devontae Smith for sure. Big win. All right, back to the super chats. The Sidekick Kid, welcome back. Got the Eagles. You could be a shootout. Who would you stream, or would you stand pat with the Eagles?
No, I'm not standing pat with the Eagles. There's really no defense out there I'm standing pat with against the Dolphins.
Right. So who might be available? I mean, I doubt the Browns are available.
The Browns might be out there. The Browns are available in a lot of leagues.
Well, actually, you know what? That's true because they played the Niners last week, so a lot of people just had nothing to do with them. So
yeah, Browns are out there. Seahawks at home against the Cardinals, I know, are out there. I like them this week.
Who might be available? Well,
let me see, I only have 2 leagues with defenses. Let me see who we put claims in for here.
Not a great defense. I don't want to start the Raiders defense, but if it's Tyson Bagent going against the Raiders, sure.
Yeah, that's actually exactly our 3 claims. We put in a claim for Browns, Seahawks, and Raiders. I mean, when I say a claim, $0 claim. We don't bid bad money on your defense.
Yeah.
But we did Browns, Seahawks, Raiders in that order.
There you go.
Yeah.
That is it. Those are the best options. Definitely Cleveland if they're available.
Yeah, they are. They're available in a lot of leagues.
Alex Ayala for Devontae. Wait, Devontae, Godwin, and Pierce or Warren. Okay, so Godwin and one of those running backs for Devontae. Which running back? To get Devontae? Who would you rather give up? I'd rather give up Warren.
Yeah, either one, honestly. Look, Pierce lost a lot of touches to Devin Singletary last week.
He did.
You have to be a little bit worried about Dameon Pierce going forward because Devin Singletary, not only did he get touches, he looked good. He actually looked good. So either one, though. Either one of those guys. Yeah, either one. Honestly, I don't know if there's a big difference for me for either of them.
Yeah, and just didn't talk about Singletary because obviously Texans not playing this week. So, you're not going to go out and stash number 2 running back on a team that doesn't run the ball that much. But worth monitoring what happens with Pierce going forward because he's been underachieving for sure. But yeah, I think you could do it either way. And then Steven with another one, traded Waller, London, Mixon for Mahomes. I know you're generally not a fan trading for a quarterback. Those guys I know aren't your favorite guys, but is that still too much? He said Fields was his quarterback. He's no solid waiver pickups left. Opponent needed some depth.
Yeah, I don't love Waller or Mixon. I don't know if I would even trade London. I don't know if I would have just traded even London just straight up for Mahomes. There has to be some QBs on. I mean, unless it's super flex. If it's super flex, then I love this trade for you. This would be a huge win for you. If it's one QB, I mean, I can't imagine like there's nobody out there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I know you don't want to like roll with Baker Mayfield rest of the season,
Yeah.
or if this is a league, if it's like and I don't remember, I'm sorry, Steven, I don't remember what exactly the details of your league. I think you play in a 12-team league. If it's a 12-team league, and some of these leagues, everyone wants their backup quarterback. And so
Right.
you're staring at the bottom 8 guys that are left. And right now it's rough. I mean, you were talking like Jimmy G who's hurt, Daniel Jones, who also happens to be hurt, and it's Daniel Jones. You're looking
I don't
at
want
those
Daniel
guys,
Jones anyways.
Desmond Ritter. Like, okay, I get it, but it's not terrible. I think it's not terrible just because, again, I'm not in on Mixon or Waller. So it's okay if you needed to do it.
Yeah, I would have probably preferred just like Waller and Mixon, but maybe that wouldn't have been enough to get Mahomes. But
Or
Mahomes
maybe
doesn't even.
like if you throw in like if you have London, if it's these 3 players, could have got like another throw-in type of player.
Yeah, definitely. And again, like I said earlier, it's not like Mahomes has been awesome this year.
That's true. Well, at least you don't have to worry about quarterback rest of the season. There's that.
True.
Big Luscious, wondering if Gas Can, could he be like a reclamation project here, or is he washed? Well, I will say this is the 3rd team he's been on because he got dropped by the Dolphins, and then he was signed to the Vikings, and then they obviously dropped him, or he was on the practice squad. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I'm going to stand by what I've said. I think almost any running back can be good in this offense. Look, the Rams' offensive line, their run blocking has been great this year. It's been one of the best. And it's a good scheme for running backs. So, look, I mean, Darrell Henderson looked good in this offense. Cam Akers with one Achilles looked good in this offense. Kyron Williams, who was absolutely the farthest thing from a special prospect, barely had 1,000 yards his last year at college. Didn't even average 5 yards per carry, which in college is horrible. Ran like a 4.6 40 at 190 pounds. Looked good in this offense. Why couldn't Myles Gaskin look good in this offense?
It's possible. It's not the craziest thing. I'll take my chances with Zach Evans for now. I'll just say that. I'll see if he does anything, and then take it from there. All right. We're staying on for a little longer. If you got your waiver wire questions you need answered for tonight, tomorrow, trade questions, whatever you got, let us know. Last chance. And then let's do a couple more. Craig Reynolds, good streaming option. I guess it depends how you define good.
Yeah, I mean, if you're desperate at RB2, it's not bad this week. I mean, it's not the best matchup. Well, who did they play? Actually, no, it was last week. Who did they play this week?
Oh, Detroit this week gets the Ravens.
Yeah, still not the best matchup, but it's a great offensive line. He'll have a chance to score. It's not the worst streaming option.
Streamable. Not forcing him into my lineup, but yeah. I mean, obviously, Gibbs coming back and playing, it sounds like he will. That, lets a little bit of air out of the tires for Greg Reynolds, but he'll still get touches. He still has touchdown upside, so he's streamable if you need him. Let's see. Well, this is Ale. I think it's right. Our Ale. Is Zach Evans worth the number 1 priority?
No, because again, like we still don't know. I am starting to feel like we may see Kyron on IR, but that doesn't mean like when he comes off IR, it's just like Zach Evans is going to light the world on fire and if Zach Evans was a prospect that I really, really liked, like if this was Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker was going on IR, I'd say, yeah, number one priority.
Oh, yeah.
Because I would feel very confident that Zach Charbonnet could go in there and look really good for the next 4 weeks. You know what I mean? Zach Evans, I don't even know if he's going to be the guy in 4 weeks. So I don't think I'm using number one on Zach Evans.
I mean, are we thinking that Zach Evans comes in, looks like Cam Akers did at the end of last year, running for 100 yards and a touchdown, for 4 straight weeks? Probably not. Probably not. So, yeah, I don't think this is the guy I'm going to use the number one claim on. I'll put in some fab on him, but if it's a rolling waiver and I got the number one, yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And I even did like Zach Evans preseason, but I don't think so. Oh, let's see where we got. This is another quarterback trade question. Landon Jameson needs help. Got offered Cousins for Gibbs. Considering it because he had Fields, he's saying waivers are picked clean. The best option would be Mayfield. So in this case, you taking Kirk Cousins?
But see, I mean, how good do we feel about Cousins? He didn't put up a great game. Now he gets the 49ers this week.
Didn't have Justin Jefferson. That's the problem.
Yeah, so it's not like if this was Kirk Cousins with Justin Jefferson and he was lighting it up still, then yeah, I'd probably say yes. But this isn't even that good of a Kirk Cousins right now, so I don't think I do this. I'd rather just play matchups with guys at the bottom of the waiver wire and hope for the best.
Yeah, you can't feel great about Cousins without JJ. I mean, you really want to start Kirk Cousins this week against the 49ers? I think I'd rather go with Baker Mayfield. So, and I don't even like Baker Mayfield, but nah, I don't think so. And then if you got the number one priority, what Patrick does, he said he's wicked RB, but Christian Watson is on waiver. See, Christian Watson just all over the waiver wire. I wish I would have.
That's too good to let go. You got to get Christian Watson. Too good to let go. You got to get him.
Again, I put Romeo Dobbs up there. I was like, oh, this is a guy you could pick up. Did not know Christian Watson was freely available in all these leagues.
I'm only in two, what I would consider casual leagues. It's my home league and my buddy's Superflex league. And Christian Watson isn't on either of our waiver wires, and I just realized why. Because he's on both of my teams.
There you go.
I should not have drafted Christian Watson. I should have just waited for week 7 when I could just pick him up off waiver wire for free.
Should have known. Should have known.
Terrible strategy.
And start Christian Watson this week, by the way. If you pick him up, start him this week. All right, Bihan 18, 12-team half PPR, 2-4. Got Lamar, Bijan, Cup, Ridley, Hall, Thomas, Zay Flowers. On the bench is Jefferson, Dell, Spears, Garrett Wilson. This is an interesting one. It was offered Hurts and Smith for Lamar and Jefferson.
Well, here's the thing. You're 2-4. I wonder, were you also 0-4 and then Cup came back and just
probably
saved the day? Came back and saved the day? But here's what I'll say. I mean, Cup, Ridley. I mean, Michael Thomas. Is that Michael Thomas?
Or is it at tight end Logan Thomas?
Oh, maybe it's Logan Thomas. Maybe.
Because I don't see any other tight ends.
Because then Zay Flowers at flex. I mean, I'm just wondering if this improves your team enough in the short term to make it worthwhile giving up Jefferson.
Yeah. I mean, you're getting Smith, should be solid. Yeah, I feel like you're going to have a really good starting lineup. got Bijan,
Yeah, I
got
mean,
Cup, Ridley, and then you would have Smith. Oh man, I don't know.
it
I
would
think
just
I
be
might
it
do
would just
this.
be really painful if like after 4 weeks they like look at Jefferson's MRI and they're like, "Oh no, you're good. Get back out there." Because like we saw with Cooper Cup, everybody was all worried, like, "Oh, he's gonna get hurt again. He's never gonna play again." And it's like, hey, he came back first week from hamstring and was just Cooper Cup. But you are 2 and if you were 4-2, I would for sure say no. I would just wait on Jefferson. But you're 2-4, so maybe. I don't think it's like a terrible trade for you. So maybe.
Yeah, I mean, maybe take it and ask for another like throw in of a running back for some depth because it looks like your only other running back is Spears. So
Yeah, that's not a bad idea because I mean, yeah, maybe see if you can get like a running back off his bench.
yeah, you might. I don't say you have to do this, but it might help you just because of the situation you're in. I think you'll have better luck too going forward. Is Kansas City D worth holding the rest of the season or keep rolling with Dallas?
Kansas City has like a crazy upcoming schedule. I mean, like I was looking at it not for their defense.
They play like Chargers and Broncos, I think.
So I mean, okay, Chargers week 7. Obviously, you don't love that, but then they get Broncos. I mean, Miami, you don't love that. Well, maybe they don't have a crazy schedule. Then the Eagles. I don't know. Just play matchups. Never mind. Just play matchups. See, I was looking at it at the players, not at the from the defense perspective. So
Yeah, I don't feel like Kansas City's defense, you just, want to roll out every week rest of the season and be good. I think they're okay. All right. Anything else we got? Anything urgent? Looks like
did we do this one? I don't remember this one.
oh, I didn't get this one. All right, Rome 710 traded Keenan Allen for Pollard and Pittman because he needed a running back. You okay with that?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I think Keenan and Pollard is pretty close. I know people are probably higher on Keenan right now because he scored last night and Pollard didn't. But I think they're pretty close. And then you got Pittman in there, who I think most weeks will be good. He's not going to play Cleveland every single week. So I like this trade. I like this trade for you.
Yeah, I think so. I think you need a running back. You got Pollard. I don't think you'll regret it. And you got Pittman, who's playable. So, yeah, I think this is pretty solid. This is a tough one. Witsy, keep asking this. I keep avoiding it because it's a tough question to answer. But let's put it up. Who do you like overall better, Devontae Smith or Chris Olave?
A better receiver? Like you mean talking about real life? Or in fantasy? I mean, either answer, they're very close for me. I think they're both fantastic real life wide receivers. And I think they're kind of close for me in terms of fantasy value. Like Chris Olave, sure, he's the number one, but he's the number one at Derek Carr. It's like, okay.
Sure.
But Devonta Smith is the number 2 with Jalen Hurts and a much better offense. So I think they're very close for me in both regards, as real life wide receivers and in fantasy.
Yeah, in fantasy, like thinking about our draft rankings, mocks, and everything we did draft wise, these guys were always kind of neck and neck.
Yep.
I mean, honestly, they're right there with each other. In fantasy, I mean, I guess I would still give the slight edge to Olave just because, like I said, he is the number one, but also Devontae Smith, is more volatility a little bit. I mean, Olave is volatile too, so maybe if I had to pick one, barely give the edge to Olave, but it's really, really close.
Yeah, I agree. Probably give the slight edge to Olave because he is the number one.
Yeah, barely. All right. So let's call it because we're going to be back tomorrow night. Don't worry. Got more advice because you're still going to have trade questions, start sit questions, hopefully get more clarity on injuries and everything else. Good luck on your waiver claims. Make some smart moves here. Hopefully guided you in the right direction. And then, of course, the start sit videos will be out, all of them by tomorrow. You still You got time to watch them right now. No reason not to. Go out and watch any of the videos you haven't seen yet, and we'll have our booms coming out soon, sneaky starts, everything else. So also reminder, if you haven't done it yet, Underdog, put up one more time because we want to make sure everyone is aware of all the specials. Use promo code ENDGAME. That gets you that deposit match 100% up to $500. And again, that's not necessarily going to be there forever. So you can take advantage now. And then you get the new customer special, Derek Carr, go higher than a yard. And then you can combine that with any other pick. And then 100K Sundays, it's back. It's Hollywood Brown. You can tell because it's bright yellow right there. This time, more winners. 1,000 people will win $100. So take advantage of that. And that's for everybody. All right. There you go, guys. Have it. We will see you again tomorrow.